Nation. We're back.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of Fire the Cannon. I'm Rocky.
And I'm Megan, and we are Fire the Cannon.
Boom. Welcome. We get to be together today.
I
Megan.
love it. It's been a minute. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute.
A little fuzzy maybe, but hey, we're here.
Are
We're
we fuzzy?
Or
is it my glasses?
No, it's definitely not our glasses. But yeah, look, it's been a long time since we've done a show together, so I'm happy to be here.
It's fun.
Happy
We just
that
had
we can do
lasagna that took forever
It
to
did.
cook in the oven.
It
So
did.
like we literally just shoved the lasagna in our mouths. It was amazing. Good to see you, Megan. We have a lot going on tonight. So we have a couple of announcements of some really exciting upcoming shows that we'll get to in a second. But today we're going to talk UT graduation, which is always pretty awesome. Texas baseball did not have the best senior day / Mother's Day / clinching at least a share of the SEC championship, but they still have a road opportunity this week. So we'll talk about what happened when after losing the series to Florida. Softball, got bumped out the stadium by the Aggies. Well done, Aggies, for sending Texas packing. But good news is Texas is 6th in the polls after the rankings come out, so they get to host the NCAA Tournament regionals. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, Texas football, so much happening, huge commitments, and Longhorns in the NFL. And we have a new thing that we have kind of a Manning moment.
Yes.
So we're going to have a Manning moment with some fun Arch Manning. The thing just popped up. Okay, and so Longhorns in the NFL, and then we always have our fun stories of anything and everything, sports or not sports, that we just want to talk about. So welcome back, Megan. How are you doing?
I'm good. Listen, it's been a kind of a crazy week. Exciting at work. I've got to say this. We've got some stuff we are not 100% ready to announce yet, but I've been working on some stuff at work near and dear to my heart. And it's given me some opportunities to talk to some folks and some exciting announcements there. And it's crazy because we've been working on this project for probably like 5 months, almost the entirety of the time that I've been at this job.
Okay.
And I feel like I was hired at the right time because there's a lot of, and forgive me for using this word, but there's a lot of synergy here.
Ooh,
so
synergy.
Yeah, look,
That's such a corporate word.
I know I'm that asshole using that word, but truly, like there's some really exciting things.
Office synergy.
Yeah. So circle back to me on that. Yeah.
Okay.
No, but look, I'm excited. So it's one of those moments at work that it's been just absolutely exhausting for the past, few months working on this project, but we are just like a few weeks away from launch, and that makes me really excited. So
that's cool.
It'll be fun to share it. It'll be fun to show everything. But
when will we get to know what's happening?
Next week. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm excited about it. Some fun news there. Again, it's all on a work front, but I feel like I have an opportunity to kind of mix some like work stuff, but also some of my passion projects. So it's been kind of cool. Yeah.
All right.
How about
you?
I
have to say first, happy birthday to my sister, Suzanne. I am lucky to have the best sister ever. My sister, Suzanne, she is the oldest in our family. And so happy birthday to my sister. Also, I hope everyone had a great Mother's Day. I had a great Mother's Day because my mom, my sister, my niece, who's a mother, and my mother-in-law, everybody was here. We had a big brunch. We had so much food. It was great. And then I went to see Sinners, which I won't even get into. Everyone highly recommended that movie.
It was so good.
I went with my mother and my daughter, and we walked out. It was so awful.
Y'all just can't handle gore.
It wasn't even about gore. It was just, I won't even get into it. Well, that's another conversation. We all agreed to walk out. We left.
No accounting for taste, my friend.
No, it was not for me or my daughter or my mom. None of us liked it. Anyway, so the good news is, exciting news, side note, is that I got the syllabus for the class I'm teaching this fall.
Exciting.
So if you want to enroll at Tech State and be in my class, you can go talk to.
So what are you teaching?
Professor Rocky. I am teaching at Texas State this fall, which I'm pretty excited about because since I finished my PhD, I haven't. I'm not gonna say I haven't done shit, but I haven't done academic stuff. So I am going to teach a class. It's called Methods for Teaching Adults, and it is an undergrad class. So you don't have to be in a grad program or a PhD program. So it's at Texas State. So spread the word and register for my class. It's
very
Doc
Rock.
ADED 4325, I think. Anyway, Adult Education 4325 is the course.
Cool, man.
So sign up because I think that's pretty exciting. I'm going to teach a class.
Yeah, it's very cool. Doc Rock in action.
And if you finish every writing assignment with hashtag Hook'em,
extra points.
I mean, extra
credit.
Like,
maybe even a sticker.
I mean, sorry, it's text state. Hashtag eat 'em up cats. I'm pretty excited. I get to teach this fall.
I love it.
Anyway, so did you have a great Mother's Day with your mom?
I did. Yeah. I mean, with that baseball, listen, this is the thing I appreciate about my parents is like, my mom's like, don't worry about coming over for, Mother's Day early because we know the baseball game's going on. Just come over for steak dinner. And I'm like, nice. So I got baseball and a steak dinner and got to spend time with my awesome mom. So yeah, it was good. It was really nice to see the family. We saw fireflies in the backyard. And I know that sounds crazy. Like, I just remember as a kid, there were fireflies everywhere.
I feel like I haven't seen fireflies in years.
Yeah, me too. And so it was kind of cool. Like, it was almost a full moon. It was a really nice, it was right before that Texas heat hit. And then there were fireflies. My parents have this like phenomenal backyard. My mom is just like this amazing gardener and all these, plants and flowers and wisteria and all this stuff going nuts. And then they've got this lovely back patio and then fireflies. So yeah, it was a really good night.
That's awesome.
With the family. So it was good.
All right. Good. So we have a couple of show announcements that we want to get to. First, we have a special episode that we're going to record and play for you later, but we have to announce, Megan, you've worked hard on getting this interview. So I'll let you share the message.
Yeah, very excited. We're going to have Ty Harrington join Fire the Cannon. Really excited about this. Ty and I have been talking for a while to get this set up. And of course, he's got such a crazy schedule, but he is going to join us on Fire the Cannon. Really excited. Again, it kind of merges both of our worlds, both Texas Longhorns and your Texas State Bobcats, right? Yes. So really excited for lifetime Longhorn and absolute legend Ty Harrington to join us on Fire the Cannon. That'll be we'll have a sneak preview. We may even do a special episode release for that. Right. So that's coming up soon. And then Rocky, I
have to talk when we do interview Ty Harrington, which is amazing. If you watch Texas baseball on ESPN, you hear his voice. I have learned so much from listening to him talk about baseball, the pitches, and why a catcher's doing a certain thing, and why a play was amazing or should have been made. And I have learned so much from him. So I'm really excited. And there is a question. You and I have had this conversation about the catchers being down on one knee.
The one knee,
the one knee thing that's in. And I'm like, well, they want their knees the rest of their lives, right?
Yeah,
so I understand if they're down on one knee. But he had the most fantastic explanation of why that could be strategically amazing. Yeah. So that's going to be one of the questions we ask because we've had the debate about the catchers being down on one knee. Yeah. Anyway, so we get to have Ty Harrington. He's committed to record with us, so we will get to share that, which is pretty exciting. Also, next week live. So if you have questions, please have your questions ready for us live. We have really special guest, another special guest. And this is lifetime Longhorn running back. Roderick Walker has agreed to come talk with us on Fire the Cannon. Thank you so much, Roderick. We're excited. So he was number 3. He wore number 3 as running back. Not only does he have like Texas legendary running back history, but also he's really involved now. He's the president of the NFL Players Association in the Central Texas area, but also he has a lot of camps and speed and agility things he has going on. So that's
staying busy, man.
Staying busy. This is him. He was at Texas. He posted some pictures. Here he is with Arch Manning's father.
Cooper.
I know everybody knows Cooper Manning. He's now become Arch Manning's father, right? Here he is with Cooper. He posted a picture of him with CDC because he was at spring game day and he's still really involved, but also he's a big supporter and advocate of all the athletics, women's and men's across the campus. So that'll be really fun to talk to him about, especially with the NFL draft being such a huge topic for Texas right now because of all the players going in. It'll be fun to talk about the NFL Players Association. So next Wednesday, make sure you join us live because you can ask questions at 8 a.m. with 8 p.m. Sorry, just say 8 a.m., not 8 a.m.
Sorry,
8 p.m. You can ask.
I won't be here at 8 a.m. I'm just telling you.
You won't be here. You won't be here. But anyway, so another thing we have to give a huge shout out over the weekend is graduation at Texas. Here's the photo that Texas football put out for the student athletes who managed to take on not just football, but also going to class and getting a degree.
You know, that whole T-ring thing.
Yeah.
Listen,
and look, who's here?
Yeah. Listen,
Who's here?
I will say this as I think that the T-ring ceremony, like having that T-ring is such a special.
I'm going to zoom in. Who's
special,
that?
like, girl, what are you showing on the?
I'm zooming in on my favorite player.
What are you showing on the screen right now? What is it? The 8-bit pixelated?
Yes.
The 1989 Nintendo version of Mookie.
Michael Taft, my favorite player.
You're killing me. You're killing me. I love it. Well, congratulations to all the student athletes.
Every graduate, including Nadia's
degree.
Amazing tutor named Janie. Congrats to you. Congrats to everybody who is graduating from the University of Texas. CDC's daughter, one of his daughters graduated. We all have friends and family who have a child who graduated from anything, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I have a quick question for you.
All right.
And I'm just going to throw this out there. How do you feel about kindergarten graduations?
Listen, I'm all for it. I think you should celebrate the big deals in life. And at the end of the day, maybe it's not something that your kid's going to remember, but that is a big milestone to get from kindergarten, go into like full on, you're grown up, you're a first grader now.
Is it though?
Yeah, I'm here for it. I still have my pictures from my kindergarten graduation and I was adorable.
I'm Debbie Downer on this one. Yeah. They didn't do anything except go to school like they're supposed to, required by law.
Yes, I don't know. But like
it's cute. Have a party for everything.
Yeah,
but at some point.
But you have 5th grade graduation, which is a big deal.
Going on to middle
school. You've got 8th grade graduation, going on to high school.
I don't know. I think to me, it kind of diminishes the greatness of high school graduation, which is now diminished by the greatness of college graduation.
Oh, come on.
To me, like if you graduate everything, then you graduate anything.
Yeah, like it's steps.
I don't know. I'm gonna be the Debbie Downer on that one. I'm not about. I just don't get it. Do we need to have a massive graduation for everything?
I mean, yeah, I like it. Celebrate the small victories.
UT Austin graduates, you arrived here as students and you leave as alumni, but your journey with our university is far from over. You were Longhorns, you were yesterday, you are today, and you will always be.
That was from interim president Jim Davis.
Yes.
But maybe he should have said, this isn't really a big deal because you should be getting your master's and we'll celebrate that instead.
Yeah. I mean, graduating college, though, is a bigger deal than graduating kindergarten.
No doubt.
Because 99% of children will graduate.
There are levels to this. I'm just saying.
Most importantly, Martin Edmonds loves your hair. I'm sure you're not talking about me. You're talking about Megan's amazing hair. I will assume
it changes a lot.
You're talking about Megan's amazing hair.
I feel like I'm really shaggy right now. Like I need a haircut real bad. So I'm doing some weird stuff with it just to try to like not look like a shaggy dog. But I appreciate you, Martin. Thanks, man.
All right. So we have to give congrats. We'll get into Texas baseball in just a sec, but let's give huge congratulations for another SEC championship, Texas rowing.
Yeah.
Women's rowing. We know they've won national championships in the last few years. Over the last few years, they are one of the best in the country consistently. They just won in their first inaugural year in the SEC, another SEC championship. Congratulations to the women's rowing.
Fun fact, this is the first year that the SEC has been able to have a rowing conference, that the SEC has become a rowing conference because OU and Texas joined. Mm-hmm. So minimum rules are, in order to have a championship in a conference, you have to have the minimum of 4 teams, right?
Okay.
So it's why you see 4 teams in like equestrian and certain other things.
Gymnastics.
Yeah. Like, so Texas and OU joining the SEC actually made it possible for there to be an SEC championship. So Texas comes in, dominates in the first year, not only our first year in the SEC, but the first year of an SEC rowing championship.
So the only team to have ever won
it.
Undefeated.
That's exactly right.
Undefeated SEC champions.
That's it.
Yeah. With Texas rowing. Congratulations to the women. I know they work really hard at like 3 a.m.
Listen, I like to support every sport.
Yes.
Right. And, God bless our friend Francesca. She worked for Texas for a while. There were times that she would invite me out. She's like, hey, do you want to come with me to rowing? And I'm like, yeah, sure. What time? She's like, we have to be there. The first boat in the water is at
4 a.m.
6 a.m. And I'm like, have so much fun. I will not be there on a Saturday morning at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
So mad respect for that. So I love it. We just got a message from Richard. Texas wasn't ready for the SEC.
Oh, no. We were not ready. We weren't SEC ready.
And yet Texas finds themselves now with 7 SEC championships, which, if I'm correct, ties the record for championships. And there's still some possibilities left here, right? We still have baseball
regular season
and tournament.
Right.
There's still a few sports left. So baseball, typically, softball and baseball kind of tail up the end of the athletic season.
Not win the softball.
All right. So before we jump into baseball talk, let's talk about that real quick. I wanted to bring this up. So
which part?
The SEC.
Okay, yeah.
Have you been impressed so far with how they have handled things? Because we have now seen a coin flip for an SEC championship.
Right.
And we have now seen, fuck it, we can't play on Sunday or won't play on Sunday. And we got rained out. We didn't prepare for weather. So congratulations, you're co-champions. Listen, I wasn't rooting for A&M. I wasn't rooting for OU. But if we're just calling a spade, they got the shaft. I think that's absolute horseshit that a conference like the SEC had a championship game ready on Saturday, but you're telling me there's absolutely no way possible to have a championship game to postpone it for weather to Sunday?
Yeah, to me, that sounds like
bullshit.
There should be an outright champion.
Right.
They're there. They can go the next day.
Yeah, go the next day.
Well, the reason they couldn't do that is because the NCAA was putting out brackets, which we'll get to in a bit. We'll look at the NCAA brackets and the softball tournament coming up and Texas place in that and Aggies and OU where they are and that. I think that the reason they had to be done by Saturday is because the brackets were coming out Sunday and the committee needs Sunday to put all that out. So
the committee can figure it out. Look,
I think the committee could have said, well, if OU wins this game, then this. If Aggies win this game, then this.
I just think it's
not the end of the world.
I just think it's ludicrous that a conference with the prestige of the SEC doesn't have a contingency for bad weather. That to me is absolutely insane. And I will tell you this right now, if this was baseball, if this was a men's sport,
they would have found a way to play that game.
I'm just saying.
I agree.
So
I agree.
I think the women got the shaft there. Again, I don't have a dog in that fight. I don't care one way or the other who wins it outright because I'm bitter that Texas isn't in it. But to call co-champion, man, I don't know. I don't like it.
Yeah, I can see that. All right. One more thing before we move to baseball. We have to give this huge shout out to Hook'em. Everybody knows Hook'em is the mascot that's actually a person in the costume, not Bevo.
You say everybody knows that, but
we know.
Let's be clear.
Yeah, it's not Bevo.
Live mascot is Bevo.
Yes.
Costumed mascot is Hook'em.
Yes.
That's a little pet peeve of mine, I gotta say.
Because people shout at the
Bevo.
Hook'em costume, Bevo.
It's Hook'em.
And that's fine, because if you have to really know that that's Hook'em.
It's Hook'em.
People are learning. It is Hook'em. Well, Hook'em is a super secret the whole time the student is Hook'em, right? Well, that person has been revealed. And that person...
University of Texas, I'm your 2021-2025 mascot. Hook'em, not Bevo. Let's go.
Hi, Barney. Hey, see y'all from Texas, where we should ride in swangers and put diamonds in our niggas. Pour drink inside my lemonade till it look like a Pepsi. See, I come from the D where we got checks and we be flexing. If you ain't from my state, then you should know, don't listen, Texas. Hey, we always strapped, we keep our weapons. My mama from the 8, she slowed it down for me at 7. Used to think Pepsi was the guy before he went to heaven. I knew what pushing P was before Gunna even said it. Hey,
the name is Hook'em, and I'm your number 54 Hook'em. I come from a long line of amazing Hook'ems that have paved the way, spreading joy across all the fans across many stadiums. From the groundbreaking for the Children's Center as my first appearance, to winning the Big 12 championship basketball, to beating A&M multiple times. And also meeting Pitbull at the SEC championship, the Heisman House, meeting Heisman players.
He's not picking up.
My favorite, meeting Glenn Powell and Matthew McConaughey. All right. But most of all, out of all the appearances, my favorite one is with you, the fans. You have spread so much spirit and joy, and you've made me smile. Thank you for always getting hype, and thank you to all the athletes who poured it out on the court and on the field. I just want to say, praise the Lord, hook 'em horns.
All right.
I love it.
Congrats. It's pretty amazing that it was a woman all the time, right? We were talking about
There's
Brutus.
multiple, there's multiple Hook'ems, but she's graduating now, so she can reveal her identity. But I brought this up a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Really cool that these like high profile, beloved mascots, women are starting to get more, opportunities there. And she was a badass Hook'em.
She was great.
I'll be honest. You could notice there was a shorter Hook'em versus some of the taller
Look at the
Hook'ems.
shoe size.
Yeah, or even height, right? But she was a great Hook'em.
She was great.
She rocked it. She was always brought the energy. She lived up to the name. It was awesome. So congratulations on graduating and for bringing so many people joy. Like everyone loves to see Hook'em. Who doesn't?
Everyone loves Hook'em. Congratulations. All right. So baseball. We'll start with talking about a drop in the polls, and this is what Texas baseball posted. The drop in the polls. They were ranked number 1 still, even after losing at Arkansas badly. They came home and the losing streak continued, unfortunately. They dropped anywhere from 2 to 8 in the different polls. So what do you think about that? Do you think that's pretty fair to drop of course they should drop if they keep losing, but do you think these numbers are between 2, 3, 3, 6, and 8?
Yeah, look, I think the thing that some folks like that aren't burnt orange followers got upset about is Texas baseball has not looked its best the past few weeks, right? They got swept by Arkansas. They lost the series against Florida. A timely, one could argue, a timely lightning delay kind of reinvigorated the team on Saturday.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, certainly Texas baseball, like we always try to keep it real here. They have not looked cool, calm, and collected recently. Like they just haven't looked. They're not seeing the ball well. Not playing their best. The bats have gone cold. So I can appreciate the argument that like, well, why is Texas still ranked as high as number 2 or number 3? But at the end of the day, like it happened. It just kind of worked out serendipitously, right? You had Texas when they're not playing their best. You also saw LSU struggle a little bit. You saw Arkansas struggle a little bit this past weekend. So at the end of the day, Texas is still leading the SEC by 2 games.
Right.
Still 2 games ahead of Arkansas, still in control of their own destiny. And look, I don't care what anybody says. The SEC is very clearly a difficult conference to play baseball. So Rocky, you had that top 10 up, or excuse me, top 25. So this is Baseball America. They've kind of gone back and forth with it. But if we look at this, again, you're still talking, look, number 1, LSU, number 2, Auburn, number 4, Georgia. You've got Texas, you've got Arkansas, you've got Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt had a nice series against Tennessee. You've got Florida, they're moving up. You got Alabama here. You got Tennessee and Ole Miss. Again, that is a ton of SEC teams in this top 25. So while I can appreciate, if you're a Texas hater, I can appreciate being pissed that Texas didn't fall farther than they did.
Right.
You also have to look at the broad spectrum of work. You've got to look at what happened that past weekend, what other teams are doing. And at the end of the day, Texas is still 2 games ahead of the toughest baseball conference in the nation. So yeah, I think it's more than fair that Texas fell, anywhere from 1 to 7 positions. 7 feels a little harsh given the situation, but yeah, dropping them down to 2, 3, 4, that feels fair to me. How are you feeling about the rankings?
It'll work itself out. If Texas can stay in that top 8 group and host the next round, that's what they need to do. We'll talk about this in a minute after we talk about how the Florida series at home went, Mother's Day, Senior Day, all the things.
Sure.
So we'll talk about that in a second. But if they can just keep themselves in that top conversation, hosting at home is what matters the most, right? Of course, you want to win an SEC championship and at least a share of it if they can win one of the 3 at OU this weekend. But if they can at least be in that conversation, at the top of the rankings when it's time to deal out home field advantage through the regionals, that's what matters, right? So I think that's what matters the most, and they need to be in that top 8, right?
Yeah, and look, I'll have this conversation now. I'm going to say this with my whole chest. It has a lot of chest. I'm going to say, like, Texas, even if Texas absolutely lays an egg. Now, look, that's not a good thing for the baseball team. You never want to be cold this time of year going into regional play.
They need to be hot. Yeah.
But if Texas completely lays a goose egg in Norman, That's a big if. I don't think that's going to happen. But if that happens, I still think UT has done enough throughout this season to still earn hosting a regional. I don't think there's any question there. Texas will host a regional. Now, super regionals might get a little squidgy.
Right.
But again, like the conversation we just had, you still have to consider, right? Texas is still going to, again, even if they completely lay a goose egg, things could still go the way that Texas takes a piece of the SEC championship or finishes number 2 in the regular season in the SEC. That's still nothing to sniff at, right? That still puts you as number 2 in the best baseball conference in the nation. So I think there's still an argument to be made. Now, yes, the voices of dissent will be louder and more, undignified, I'm sure, indignant about it. But I still think there's an argument to be made. Like Texas is clinched no matter what happens this weekend. Texas is clinched hosting a regional. And if they even show some signs of life, I feel like Texas is a lock-in for super regionals as well, if they make it that far, right? So I don't know. You have some feelings on that? You
no,
come up face.
I agree. Just get into hosting at home. That makes the biggest difference. You get to sleep in your own bed, play in your own field that you know, and you have more fans supporting you. All of that adds up, right? And it really does help. But we have to talk about how this SEC championship that's right in their grasp, but they just can't secure it, right? They had that win on Saturday, which means they only needed one more. They came back from an ugly loss Friday night at home. Ruger Riojas, who started hot when he got moved to the Friday night starter, has struggled the last couple weekends, Arkansas and Florida. Still a fantastic pitcher, but working the things out, right? And so Florida pulled out way ahead. Texas lost Friday night 2-8. They fought back Saturday, which was great. But then Sunday, we have to talk about the Senior Day, Mother's Day, all the things. They fought, but it just was not enough. And they lost at home 1-4. And Ryan Galvan, let's talk about this. He said he called a meeting with the team, called a meeting post-game, a team meeting, and he said that loss was embarrassing. What do you think about that? Because when you and I were texting back, we're like, they have an opportunity to clinch at least a share or possibly outright the SEC regular season title in the by far toughest conference in baseball in their first year with a new coach, and they just couldn't seal the deal. What are your thoughts about? Would you consider that loss on Sunday embarrassing?
Look, to me, this is a double-edged sword, right? On its face, I'm happy that the players feel that way. I'm happy that the players are outright saying, like, look, this is not the standard at Texas.
Right.
This is not what we should be doing. This is not what we know to do. Now, I'm going to say some things, and I'm going to have a little debate with myself out loud.
Okay.
All right. So on the surface, all the things I just said are still true, right? Like it can be an embarrassing loss. This is absolutely not up to Texas standard. Like I mentioned, you don't want to get cold this time of year.
Right.
But I can also understand, look, Texas has been dealing with some injuries. We know Max Ballou still isn't here. This is where having that depth with Jared Spencer being out, you're starting to feel that a little bit, right?
Absolutely.
Ruger Riojas up to this point has been absolutely nails, like lights out. But you're right. He had a tough past couple of weekends.
Right.
I would also offer that I think the A&M series emotionally took a lot out of this team. And then you had that quick turn for a Thursday game in Arkansas, right? The series started Thursday. So Texas had a really emotional series against A&M. You get 1 day of rest to kind of figure your life out. You play a Tuesday game against a very good team in Lamar. And then you are literally flying on Wednesday to play on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So that's a quick turn for Arkansas, right? You get dog walked in Fayetteville. Like, let's just call it. That is what it is. Like,
they got their butt kicked.
Texas didn't play well. And I think that kind of weighed on them mentally. I think what we saw this past weekend against Florida, it felt like the same thing. It just felt low energy Friday. Saturday, Texas did not start strong. And then we had that weird lightning delay where it didn't really rain. We didn't really see lightning, but it was close enough that it was
We
a
had
2 hour.
pouring rain here, so we thought it was pouring rain down
No,
there.
we got some sprinkles at the dish.
Uh-huh.
But at the end of the day, I mean, we could see it all around, but at the end of the day, all it requires is lightning within a certain distance.
Right. The alarms to go off.
Right. So that put Texas in a 2 hour rain delay, which I think was beneficial for Texas. They got to like take a breather, look at what was happening in the game. And I have a feeling Schloss had to have an Augie moment, right? Like, or got to have an Augie moment,
Get
or
it together.
have a conversation, or, you know, even if it's just rallying the troops, like, hey, this is not how we play. This is not what we're doing. And there was a noticeable difference when Texas came back. Bats heated up. Guys were playing with fire again. All of a sudden, hitting's contagious. Occupy, man, shout out to Mark here, offering $1,000 NIL money
for
the
home
first
run,
for
right?
the first player that hit a home run. And sure as shit, Galvan stepped up and said, I'll take that money. Thank you very much. Cranked a home run. And then right after that, listen, your boy Flores, J-Flo, steps up, hits another home run. And I believe Mark actually said, all right, I'll give you both $1,000.
Oh, nice.
So
back-to-back home runs.
Back-to-back, man. It's, you know, that's a good deal. So, but then you come back on Sunday, and again, it just felt like Texas didn't have that fire. It felt like, and look, there was a point in the game where Gasparino, I love you, Will, but Gasparino got yanked.
He got pulled.
And there was some debate, like, did he pull up a little bit? Did he get injured as he was sprinting to first? Because we didn't see him after that.
That was the play where he beat the tag at first, and we were like, oh, did something happen in that moment? Was he hurt? Like, why was he gone?
So there was some debate.
Jonah moved to out there.
Right. Well, and this was also a series where we saw Jonah come out. Like, he ran, he had a double. This was on Saturday, right? Had that game, ultimately game-winning double, which was a triple RBI, right? And but Jonah was cramping, and so they pulled him. So there was some concerns there. So you kind of get the flash of that in the Sunday game when Will gets pulled. It's like, is it the cramping issue? Is this a what? Turns out, like, again, this I can't confirm this, but it's pretty confirmed that this was an internal. I think what Schloss's exact words were internal team issue.
Yeah.
Read between the lines all you want there.
I think there was a plan, and maybe he was going his own way with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now look, so Jonah got put in center field for Gasparino. I don't get paid the money that Schloss gets paid. I'm certainly not the coach that Schloss is. And I am a Jonah Williams stan, like, no question. Kid's going to be amazing. But
that's a big spot to put him in that position.
But I will say this, Florida took advantage of Jonah being in center field. There were some plays, at least 2 runs, right, that Florida hit it right out there, and it would have been easy outs, easy plays for Gasparino. And the younger Jonah just wasn't quite in position, wasn't quite there yet, didn't quite read the ball right. And I think that cost Texas at the end of the day. So look, when we talk about this, it was not a great showing for Texas, but Texas is still in a great position.
Yes.
So look, I'll tell them, buck up, guys, a little bit, stiff upper lip, get your shit together. We're traveling up to Norman. This is a very winnable series. All Texas has to do to share is 1 game. 1 game in Norman, you're good to go. 2 games, you've clinched, I believe.
Yeah,
you think sweep, and there's no doubt.
Right.
There's no doubt.
So this is from Horn Sports. This is Texas' resume as of with 1 week left. 40-10 record. If anyone had told you Texas was going to have a 40-10 record, their first year with a new coach and in the SEC, 20 SEC wins. They've already exceeded expectations. So even if there's a little bit of the injuries catching up at the end of the season, or the exhaustion, or all the other things, whatever's causing this, this streak of falling short lately, at the end of the day, a number 3 RPI, 15 Q1 wins. Like, if you look at this resume, it is fantastic. And they do have an opportunity to share the SEC title at a minimum. 2 wins gives them the outright title. So if they can take the series at OU, which is a good team who's playing really good ball right now, if they can take that series, which is going to be tough on the road, heated rivalry, then they just need 1 win to share the title, 2, and they get it outright. Yeah. So there's the opportunity is there, and none of us would have thought they were going to win an SEC championship.
Yeah, look,
in their first year, and now it's just they control it. They control their own destiny right now.
Yeah, look, I've said this before. Inside me are 2 Megans, right? One is the kind understanding, like, man, this team has overachieved in year 1 of the SEC, year 1 under a new coaching staff. again, these aren't necessarily all Schloss's players. It's
Right.
not all there, right? But then the other side of me is like, well, the standard is the standard, and this is the University of Texas, and like no excuses, right?
Yes, but there has to be some allowance for this transition
Yeah, no
phase,
doubt.
and they exceeded that.
No doubt. And that's what I hope that Texas fans, even the most diehard, even the most avid, like keep that in the back of your mind when being critical of this team is like, yeah, they haven't been playing their best. Yeah, like there is definitely room for improvement. But man, to me, that's the encouraging thing. Like we're talking about room for improvement as we are leading the SEC in the first year in the SEC. Like that's a dream scenario in my mind. So a lot of good things left. Again, 100% Texas is still very much in control of their own destiny. I'm not going to freak out about it. Now,
we just blame Miracle Martinez.
There we go.
You
there
didn't
you go.
come to the game,
Ezzy.
and it's you. Hi, you're the problem. It's you.
No, I love it. We did miss you this weekend, Ezzy, but again, it's look, Texas starts play in Norman tomorrow. Again,
Woo,
Thursday through Saturday.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yep.
The game this weekend, the schedule is Thursday 6:30, Friday 6:30, Saturday 2 p.m.
Yeah.
And again, just like the softball last weekend, the brackets and NCAA tournament will be announced on Sunday. It happens again this week. So all the tournaments need to be and weekends need to be done by Saturday. And Texas will know where they are seated and all that at the end of this season. So if they can even get a share of the SEC championship this season, which means not getting swept at OU, they are in control of their own destiny again.
Let me ask you this, Rocky, before we close out on baseball talk.
Yeah.
Right now, at this point in the season, with one regular season series left at Norman, is there a bar? Like, what has to happen for you to say this regular season was a success? Are we already there?
We're already there.
Do we have to
Well, we've already exceeded expectations. There were some people that says, well, if Texas can even get to someone else's regional, that would be great with all the transition. To be in, well, they've been number one a lot of the season. To be in this position where they're controlling a championship, I think we've gone beyond expectations and beyond success. To even share a piece of the title this year is so much success. And the only caveat to that, I think, is that it's going to set the bar really high next year. Because if which is great, because
the standard is
the standard, right? But Schloss, it's a catch-22, right? You come in on fire and things are all great, and kind of that Sonny Dykes at TCU kind of feel. Like you come in and you get your team to the playoffs the first year. Anything less than that is absolute failure, right? So I'm just saying it sets the bar really high.
Look, to be honest, though, I'm okay with that with Texas baseball. I'm okay with like the expectation is to win conference championships. The expectation is to go to Omaha.
Oh,
you
yes.
You and I have gone back and forth on this a little bit. I agree with you. Like there should be some amount of understanding, right? Mm-hmm. Kids are still human. But we say this over and over. The standard is the standard. You know, the expectation is you win championships. The expectation is that you make it to Omaha. And the expectation is to see Texas dogpile in Omaha at the end of the year. So yeah, I agree that bar is set really high. And for any other program, I would say, that feels really maybe unreasonable. But call me unreasonable because as a Texas fan, that's the expectation.
Yeah, and Texas has done it many times.
Yeah.
All right, so we will take 12 seconds to give the 12th man a little note. So we have to mention the golden age of baseball was supposed to be the Aggies this year. They started the season number one in the country. We're not going to waste too much time talking about the Aggies, but we have to say this weekend, Missouri 0-24 in SEC play coming into College Station this weekend, went into Texas A&M and swept them
by a lot.
Home. Yes, out hit them 38-11 or something like that. Hits, just fantastic weekend for Missouri. And this is Kendall Rogers' fantastic coverage of baseball.
D1 baseball.
Yeah, he wrote, it's shocking, that Missouri went in to beat the Aggies, hit them 38-11. And then he mentioned Aggies could be the first team ever to be preseason number one and not make the NCAA tournament. I know we all see that. I feel bad for the players, right? I mean, that's just a bummer. You think of that gift that they use for football all the time where things are great and then they fall off. Are they going to have one for baseball now, like January to May?
I just think it's being an Aggie, right? Look,
the women softball are on fire and whoop the crap out of Texas. And we'll talk about softball next. The Aggie softball. Can you imagine right now if they had the #1 baseball and softball at the same time right now?
Yeah. Look, I will say this. I've had my fair share of run-ins with Aggies. I have my fair share of Aggie friends. It has got to be tough to be an Aggie fan. And I commend the ones that stick around year after year after year, because you have these expectations, and exactly like the meme shows, you got that roller coaster preseason #1. Everything is great. Best recruiting class. Everything's amazing. Oh God. Right. So listen,
false hope when you beat Southern Mississippi, Louisiana State, Northwestern. And then
but I will say this.
CB, Missouri is the worst team in SEC history.
That's true. Yep. That's true. Now I will say this though. Look, there's a lot of Aggie fans. Now, this is not my place to say one way or the other. I don't know the team as well as a lot of others do. But I will say even the concept of you hired this coach, you were left kind of with your dick in your hand, for lack of a better term here, but that's kind of how A&M was. I understand why Aggies are upset with Schwab.
Initially, the whole staff left, right? But Early came back for the head coaching job.
So, but you also, as a university, you hired a guy with no head coaching experience. Now, he's a great coach. I'm not saying he's not.
Position coach.
And I will say impossible expectations. He has handed a team that's preseason #1, expected to win everything, right? Like, I do not envy Early's position. I do not envy, because anything shy of the impossible for a first-year head coach at a very, very high expectation D1 program with a boatload of talent, anything shy of a championship is considered failure. And to me, that's an unfair expectation to saddle on a first-year coach. So the fact that they're talking about, like, there's a lot of the fire early, all this kind of stuff, conversation, I don't know that I agree with that. And look, I'm taking my burn.
Because at the end of the day, are the Aggies, they had high expectations this year, but are they a championship baseball program? Have they ever won a baseball championship?
Right.
There may be exciting expectations this year, or moments where they feel like they have an opportunity, but at the end of the day, they're not a championship baseball program.
They haven't followed through.
Exactly.
Right? So I get it. And it's got to be a huge letdown. But, and I would say this, I was somebody that said I didn't think Tom Herman should have been fired when he was. I thought Charlie Strong got the shaft. Look, Texas ended up, for the grace of CDC, Texas ended up in a really good spot with Sark. But I think the discussion about firing a guy that you brought into impossible circumstances,
that's what's
impossible expectations. You only give him 1 year to figure things out. I don't know, man. That just feels.
And who would they go get? Knowing that next coach could be fired in a year or two,
right?
Not given a full opportunity.
And I've said this often. I think A&M has such potential to be a hot spot for coaching. They've got money. They've got the fan support. They've got, they're in a hotbed for recruiting.
But it does matter what city you're in.
It does.
And the athletic department is historically not supportive of their coaches. Like, those things matter to coaches.
What I would argue is A&M's, and I've said this before, what I would argue is A&M's biggest burr under their saddle is that the administration, and again, I think people underplay how important this is. The administration is not in lockstep, and it hasn't been in a long time, between upheavals with the AD, presidents going in and out, and the Board of Regents not being in step with any three of those branches, right? Like, that to me feels like A&M's biggest problem. And until that is more in line and they're all rowing in the same direction, you're still going to see A&M do A&M things.
All right. So our Aggie minute moment. I know we can talk all day. All right. Right, CB, we wouldn't get Tulo back if Early had stayed at Texas. So we win and we win. So good luck to them. It's kind of sad that it's turned out that way. But let's talk about what is firing on all cylinders for the Aggies is their softball team. Yeah. They embarrassed the Texas women in the SEC tournament last weekend. It started pretty exciting for the women. The first day of the tournament against Ole Miss, they had 2 rounds of bye with the in the tournament because they were seeded so high, 3 or 4, whatever it was. And then, so let me show you a couple clips. So this was Henry had a great homer. They started off hot, 4 runs in the first inning, and they were up 6-1. So here's Henry's homer. Sorry, that was an infield. Yeah, infield, but it brought in the run, so made it 4-0. And before you knew it, Texas was up 6-1. It looked like they had it in the bag. Oh, no, Ole Miss did not quit. Good for them. Tied it 6-6. And then Mia Scott, who we talked about last week, because she was the first player, and it wasn't just in Texas softball history, it was in NCAA softball history to play every position in a single game. Of course, the veteran came in and walked it off for the win, and I'll show you that. I have the wrong clip. Anyway, she walked it off. It was amazing. I won't worry about it. So Texas survives in this game against Ole Miss. Yeah. And so I was actually talking with Nadia after this game because we watched the Aggies too win big in their game to move on to the playoff semifinal against Texas. What was going to be more momentum, that exciting, hard-fought walk-off win, or the cruising butt kicking that the Aggies gave?
Butt kicking.
Well, it absolutely looked like the cruising butt kicking because the Aggies walked Texas out the 14-2 in 5 innings.
Yeah, look, I will say this. To me, walk-offs are fun. As fans, you love walk-offs. You love the fight, but they're draining.
They've got to be.
I mean,
draining.
It is absolutely exhausting to the last second. Sometimes it's extra innings, right? Like, it is just draining, and then to have to turn around and play again. So yeah, give me a boring old
coasting
through it, run rule game, get a little extra rest anytime over that. Again, as a player, that's what I would prefer. As a fan, I sure do love me some walk-offs. But
yeah, it was exciting because Texas was. I was like, are we really going to blow this game to a crappy Ole Miss team? They survived, but the next day wasn't enough. All right, so moving on, the brackets were set. This is a tiny, tiny print. You can't read it, whatever, but this is the brackets put out. The greatest show on dirt, NCAA puts out. And Texas gets a 6 seed, which means they get to host at home this weekend. And we'll show you Texas softball released this photo that shows they are hosting. They get UCF, Michigan, big program, and Eastern Illinois, all at Texas. The first game will be Michigan and UCF at 1 p.m. on Friday at the full name of the stadium, the Red and Charlene McComb Stadium. And then Texas plays at 3:30 on Friday against Eastern Illinois. And then, depends on who wins, who loses, blah, blah, blah. So Texas wins that game. They should go on to play at noon on Saturday. And then from there, so it's down to the last 4. The winner of this region will move on. So that's pretty exciting here because it's a big, like we talked about with baseball too. It's a big deal to get to host at home, and that makes a big difference. The funniest things that happened when they released the brackets is seeing other schools respond to seeing where they're now. It's like, we love seeing Texas be like, "Yay, we're hosting!" That's always fun. But
yeah, so Boston University.
Oh, Boston. Okay,
yeah, Boston University.
BU.
Yeah,
BU. Here's them saying when they saw that they were being matched up in the OU.
And they'll get underway on ESPNU Friday night against the Terriers of Boston University, champions of the Patriot League, led by Casey Ricard, a 20-game winner with over. That's right. Surrender Cobra.
Video, they go, half of them are like, yay, and the other half are like, no.
Surrender
they
Cobras.
already have the Surrender Cobras. Like, no.
Now,
They have to play, of course, multi-time champion OU.
I will give them the benefit of the doubt here. One of the girls responded to that Surrender Cobra comment and said, look, it's not that we don't want to play them or like we're not looking forward to it. They said, we've just had them 3 times out of the last few years. They're like, we just want somebody new. To be fair, I would too.
Yes,
I would too, but it does kind of suck to have the same team over and over and over again.
Yeah. Well, then you should
when
know
it's
it by now, and you should
right.
have a good plan.
Well, we should say that about Texas too.
Texas, that OU is Texas kryptonite, and it's looking like the Aggies might be too, the way they're playing softball. All right, a quick note before we move on from softball. So if you go online, the NCAA website, you can buy the general admission tickets. It's the bleachers out off the side, and there was only $24 for the whole weekend. Like, you can go to every game all weekend. Michigan, Eastern Illinois, UCF, Texas, all weekends, only $24. So I don't know if there's still any left, but they sent an email and I grabbed them. So do that if you want to get out at any point and see Texas softball this weekend. But we have to give massive love to Kat Osterman. This is pretty exciting. Anytime a Longhorn is being recognized. This is the College Sports Communicators Academic All-America Hall of Fame class. Kat Osterman is being recognized. Congratulations.
Smarty pants and incredible. And she's awesome. You've listened to her announce.
Yeah, she's so
great.
good.
She's great.
Can you imagine just watching a game with Kat Osterman?
Yeah,
like
killing it on
that's
all levels.
that's what it feels like. That's why I say, like, I learn a lot listening when she's talking, just like with Ty Harrington.
Yeah,
we talked about he's going to join us next week. Some people just are,
they're relatable, right?
But they're like entertainment, but education, edutainment, whatever they call it. Anyway,
you just make that up.
No, there's a word for it, like infotainment. That's
infotainment.
Infotainment is the word, where you're informed and it's informational and you're learning, but also it's really, you don't even know you're learning
engaged
because it's so entertaining. Yeah, like my class at Texas State is going to be infotainment. All right, so Miracle Martinez gave us an update. Texas men's golf made it to the NCAA golf championship, the longest current streak in men's D1 golf.
That's awesome.
Congrats, man. I know there was a delay with weather or something earlier today, so I hadn't seen what actually happened.
Weather has been wild lately.
Well, it's spring.
I know, but like, this has been out of control all over the country. Like, the fact that we are 25 degrees hotter than the average this time of year.
Yeah,
that's bonkers.
I mean, I went out at like about 1:30 or 2 today when it was like, I don't know, 100.
Doesn't mean it's not hot.
No, I mowed the lawn.
I get it, but it doesn't mean it's not hot.
I love the heat. I'm like, oh, it's a nice.
You are the reason that we get this crap.
It's 98 degrees. I should go mow the lawn, and I did. Okay, so let's get into it. We have a new thing that we're gonna do, and I'm kind of excited about it. We're gonna have a Manning moment.
Manning moment.
Manning moment. You want to do some music for it? That's
we will.
Great. Yeah,
we
will. We're gonna have a Manning moment. We have a couple little fun Manning things that will take us to the top of the hour. Second hour, we're gonna talk Texas football and Longhorns in the NFL, and of course, our favorite top stories. Hopefully, we get time to do those. So, in our Manning moment, we have some fun Manning things. So first, Sean Miller was being interviewed, and he was talking about how he ran into Arch Manning, and this is what happened.
So I was walking across the street last week, or maybe a week and a half ago, and somebody yelled my name, Coach Miller, Coach Miller. I turned around, and it was Arch Manning. He's a huge basketball fan, and we came together. He said, welcome to Texas, and, I'm a big basketball fan. He was with a couple of his friends, and he had one question for me. He said, hey, do you mind if once in a while we sneak in and play pickup?
You can do whatever you want.
That was his question for me, and I said, yeah, anytime. Just don't get whatever you do, don't get hurt, right?
Hey, we'll kick everybody out.
Don't get hurt. He just jinxed him right there. So no Arch Manning.
No basketball.
We know he played basketball in his high school team that won a championship. He talked about he learned a lot from not being the starter on that team, but he is a basketball hooper, right? He loves it. Better not go play pickup. You better not. Go play pickup.
Or he's got to be like the kid in A Christmas Story, wearing that snowsuit where he can't move. Like, Ralphie, hey Ralphie.
No, but you have a fun Arch Manning at the basketball game story. Something that happened just to you. Remember he shot the cannon?
Oh yeah, I did catch a T-shirt from Arch Manning. So I mean, kind of a big deal, I guess.
I mean, yeah, you should let the paparazzi know that you'll be having lunch at Naboo on Saturday, so they can come find you. So that's pretty cool, right? That you caught a shirt from Arch Manning. Okay, another Manning moment thing. The University Co-op has released this gear, Arch Manning gear. You can get an Arch Manning t-shirt, number 16, Arch Manning. They put out this whole list, Arch Manning 16 t-shirts. They put out all this stuff for just release that you can go get Manning gear. So we know he gets a percentage because they're using his name now that there's an NIL thing. But that's neat that they have like Manning gear, because everything is Manning Mania, Arch Mania, whatever is full effect already. Like all the preseason craziness, people already have him going first in the draft next year, even though all his family says he's not going in the draft next year.
So I've got to ask you this, and maybe this is an unfair question, but can you remember a time before where you saw so many fans walking around in the backup quarterback's gear? I can think of one, but I don't know that it's 100% parallel.
No, this year I saw more Manning jerseys for sure than yours jerseys.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, one could argue that the Sims Applewhite quarterback controversy, like you saw a lot of people in Applewhite gear, right? Like, do you remember the shirts that were burnt orange and they had the big like Apple computers, Apple, but an all white with a Longhorn in the middle and the bite out of it because it was a white apple for Applewhite? You remember that one? That was before NIL, before they could like use his name, so they had to get kind of creative. I had that shirt, like
I don't remember that.
And I'm pretty sure it's when Sims was still a starter. So I mean, I guess you could kind of draw some parallels there. But I feel like that was more of a quarterback controversy at the time than it is now, right? Than it was. So
okay.
Yeah.
All right. So a couple things before we give it a little love to Rockin' Diamond S Ranch. A couple of things.
You got it.
Because I had to write it out so I get it. Okay. So Viore, which is the clothes we know, Viore, whatever you say it, the company that Arch Manning is with, right? We know he's with Red Bull and Waymo and the biggest names, right? This is our Manning moment. So they had some quick words for him, like quick thinking response.
Quick responses, yeah.
Yeah, what's your quick response? So I'm going to give you these questions, and then we'll see what Arch Manning's responses were. So you do them as if just for you, like as for yourself, not what he would say, but for yourself. Okay. So what's the first word that comes to your head? Ready? Football.
Texas.
Practice.
Texas.
The draft.
Kelvin Banks.
Fitness.
Hard.
Quarter zip.
Oh, just a run play. Like
music.
Country.
Manning.
Football. Again.
Austin.
Texas.
Viore.
I have no idea what Fiore is.
Viore is the clothing line.
I don't.
Okay.
I'm not rich enough to wear it.
This is what Arch Manning said with those exact prompts. Okay.
Football.
Fun.
Practice.
Hard.
Draft.
First.
Fitness.
Hard.
Quarter zip.
Clothing.
Music.
Loud.
Manning.
Arch.
Austin.
City.
Viore.
Clothing.
Okay, the most notable thing for me, draft first.
I love it.
First, with the first thing out, he knows no matter, he could go 0 and knock on wood. He could go 0 and 12.
Why do you do that?
I'm just saying the team
killing me.
could go 0 and 12, and he will still be the first one taken in the draft.
Me.
I'm just saying, he knows he's gonna go first.
All right, y'all bookmark this because if things go south,
he
it's
will
her
go
fault.
17 and 0, 16 and 0, whatever. But he could go 0 and 12, and he won't. Of course, he won't. But he will still be the first one taken in the draft. No questions asked. He could go this year, next year, the year after, doesn't matter. He knows he's first in the draft. Draft first. Oh, I love it so much. Okay, here's another one, Megan. These are another questions Viore asked of him, and I want your thoughts on these questions.
Okay.
Something you're bad at, but you love doing.
Oh, man. Wakeboarding.
Okay. What are you good at and love doing?
Art.
Okay. Do you have any superstitions?
Yeah, a lot. I wear a cape to the game.
Yeah,
baseball,
you have
everything.
superstitions.
Yeah.
All right. A night in or a night out?
Depends on the time of year.
Okay. What's a game-changing lesson you've learned?
Sleep is more important than you think it is.
Ooh, yes. What team sports did you play as a kid?
Basketball, volleyball, and soccer.
Okay. I won't ask you about off-season recovery training because whatever.
I wasn't good enough for that.
What is your favorite stadium?
Well, DKR, of course.
DKR. Okay. What is your favorite stadium other than DKR? One is DKR, two is
not Texas. If I'm going to take my teams out of it, so I got to take Michigan State out of it. I would say I had a lot of fun in Lincoln, in Memorial Stadium in Lincoln.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what Arch said. This is pretty good.
Hey everyone, I'm Arch Manning, Viore athlete and college football player, and today we're going to be sweating it out with Viore.
Golf. I'm very bad at golf, but I love playing golf. Hopefully football sometimes. Yeah, I love playing football. No, not really. I like to shower before every game. I think that's pretty common though, but that's definitely a go-to for me. Probably night in with my buddies. I would say my grandfather always just taught me to be a good guy. And that kind of took the stress away from all the pressure, just focus on being a good teammate, being a good guy. Football, basketball, baseball, karate, swimming, everything. Recovery, I like to do the cold tub and hot tub. And training is just lifting and running and throwing. Probably the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. Hook 'em.
Not the Mercedes-Benz Superdome.
Yeah, I mean, he's
the
from there.
Caesars Superdome.
He's from there.
I know. He had to throw it back to when it was the Caesars Superdome.
Yeah.
So that I think that's pretty. It's neat the way Viore's like trying to get us to know him.
Sure.
Which is kind of cool because I didn't watch so much that gymnast, like you see her all the time, but I have been really following these ads with Arch Manning and our Manning Moments. We'll bring you more of them.
It's a good NIL deal.
It's great for us to learn more about him, right?
So let me ask you this. What's your favorite away game, like a favorite stadium that Texas has been to?
That Texas has been to?
Yeah, that you've attended that Texas has been to.
I'll think about it.
Oh, that's not fair. You don't get to put me on the spot and not have an answer. Come on.
I'll say where we had the most fun, and this was before they became just awful fans of haters of Texas, was West Virginia.
Yeah,
the first
awesome.
time we went to West Virginia,
first year was fun.
Was a blast. It was the first time Mac Brown had gone to overtime. It was exciting. Everyone was welcoming and pulling you into their their tailgates and all blueberry moonshine and raspberry moonshine and apple moonshine and cinnamon, all the moonshine.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they made all these moonshines. All the food and everybody was so great. And the Friday night before the game, Richard and I snuck into the stadium. We have photos. We went to go find a little spot to have dinner and drinks. And thanks for coming to West Virginia. Welcome. We're excited to be in the Big 12. It took about 2 years for them to be
over it.
Awful, awful. So anyway, that was, I would say West Virginia Stadium because it was great. And it's not a big fancy stadium. It's a rundown piece of shit, but it's fun.
I can't imagine why they turned on us.
But it's fun.
So speaking of places that aren't awful,
okay,
I got to bring this up.
Okay, please do.
Listen, y'all, if you haven't been or checked out the Rockin' Diamond S Ranch, you absolutely have to do so. It is nestled on a beautiful 120 acres and is the perfect Texas Hill Country experience. So if you're looking for a place to go, a staycation, you're looking to take the family somewhere, or you need to plan ahead for football, look no farther than the Rockin' Diamond S Ranch. The property sleeps 14 with one primary house, 2 fully furnished cabins, and tons to do. There's wildlife watching, fishing, playing with the Longhorns, indoor and outdoor eating, a great place to party on the back patio, and a pool. You can't miss it. Some good hiking there too, to be honest. So yeah, check it out. It's 5 minutes from downtown Blanco with breweries, eateries, shopping, and more. So F1's coming to town. You got a lot of premium games coming into town. Even if you're here for Austin FC, it's a great place to check out. You guys need to check it out again online. That is rockindiamondsranch.com, or give our good friend Chuck Smith a call at 512-694-1969 and tell him Fire the Cannon sent you.
All right. Good job, Megan. All right. So let's move on. We have at the 9 o'clock hour, we definitely want to talk Texas football. And let's start with great news, Megan. There's great news happening. It's way too early to worry about where the class rankings are happening because last year at this time, Texas was way out of the top 10, 15 of class rankings or recruit rankings, but that doesn't matter because we know Sark and staff likes to play the long game, really get to know people, the players, see if there's any senior risers, really develop relationships, and boom, close with the no, and flip a few people. Never let
Mary Flipmas.
Mary Flipmas happens for Texas. They don't quit on some players that they really, really want, and we're able to get players like Xavier Filsme, right? So they don't quit on them. So But it's always still exciting when players jump in early to get in the Texas class. So congratulations and welcome to a couple of new commits that committed this week. First, we're going to talk about just a quick congrats to 4-star cornerback Hayward Howard. He's out of New Orleans. Huge SEC country, Edna Carr High School, huge SEC country, pulled him right out of LSU's backyard. Exciting. He had offers, from Miami, Florida State, all these big, but he's been a long time Longhorn fan. So congrats and welcome to Hayward Howard. That's a cool name, Hayward Howard.
I'm going to mess that up undoubtedly. That's like Talladega Nights. That boy's got 2 first names.
That's a pretty cool name.
Hayward Howard.
Yeah. And then today, a big announcement that we had to mention, because this is some people have him as a 5-star recruit. Some people are throwing out the Travis Hunter reference. I mean, Travis Hunter broke all kind of barriers. Heisman, top draft recruit, all the things. But to be in the same sentence for some people is a big deal.
Sure.
Some people have him as a 5-star. Jermaine Bishop, he plays offense and defense. He's committed to Texas over A&M and over A&M and Florida and USC. And the cool thing is his parents, when they come to town, I've seen a few different people post pictures of him and his family, all decked out in Longhorns.
Yeah,
I haven't showed that one yet. This is Jermaine Bishop, all decked out in Longhorns. So congratulations to the whole Bishop family. They look amazing, and
they look good in burnt orange.
They do. They look really good. So this is what's really cool about Jermaine Bishop. So he plays offense and defense, and he's a returner. Jeff Banks today tweeted, "Triple threat, Willis, Texas." I don't know where Willis, Texas is. Do you know where Willis is?
I couldn't tell you.
I'll look it up on a map. I don't know where it is.
But I'd be lying.
But congrats to Willis, Texas. So Jeff Banks said triple threat. So that's exciting because welcome. What do you think about? We have a few more recruits coming in early. Like, do you think because of the excitement of Texas and being back-to-back in the playoffs, just came off a number 1 recruiting class, hot off the NFL draft the last 2 years, do you think there's going to be a little more excitement for maybe some of these players to commit a little earlier and
100%.
Get their spot in?
Listen, I will say this. I know we're going to talk about it, so I hate to let the cat out of the bag here, but we see Kelvin Banks get taken first off the board for Texas, just signed a $27.7 million 4-year deal. If you think that isn't amping up recruiting, you're out of your mind, because that absolutely is moving the needle for Texas. Of course, this development we've seen the past 2 years, Texas sending a record number of players to the NFL draft. That definitely affects it. And look, you got some New Orleans coming in. I feel like maybe there's a little Manning effect there.
Oh yeah.
Right? And beyond, outside of this, the state of Louisiana, having Arch Manning, having an opportunity to play with Arch Manning, like that's a generational quarterback we're talking about, right? So Texas right now, again, we'll knock on some wood here, but has everything going for them. You've got the names, you've got the development, you've got the best city, you've got the money, you've got the momentum. It's a really exciting time. And I'll tell you, if I am not a fan of the burnt orange, I'm a little worried. Like, we have said this for a long time. CDC has said this. Like, Texas has been a sleeping giant for a hot minute. And a united Texas is a reckoning. And right now, y'all, it feels like Texas is firing on all cylinders and right there. So, hey, Rocky, just looking at this, I pulled it up on Google. Willis is just north of Conroe.
Yeah, that's what David Wheeler said too.
Yeah.
Willis. So it's always nice to get into that
Houston area
that's been not only hot for College Station, A&M for a while, but LSU coming into that area. And, that's really great to go into there and get one of the number 1 athlete in the country, but also one of the top, a player that could really be an impact, offense or defense or both.
Absolutely.
Could they play him on both? I mean, now that we're seeing this player like Jonah Williams play 2 completely different sports at Texas, maybe they're going to be a little open to him playing both.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Very possible.
All right. So let's look at some other fun news this week in Texas football is some game time announcements. So let's start with the first announcement, which was the Texas A&M, the Aggies are coming to Texas this year. We know we just renewed the rivalry at College Station last year. They are coming, and it's going to be a Friday night game, which is Black Friday, the Friday after Thanksgiving, and it is a 6:30 p.m. game. Cue up the drones. Cue up the drone show. Megan, what are your thoughts about this game being Friday night, 6:30 p.m.?
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. Listen, I've had this conversation with people. I get it. Not everybody can take Friday off, but a lot of people have it off.
Yeah, and most people have it off,
and
or
can
get it off.
And again, we're going to blame the Aggies for this. I still wish, and maybe I'm in the minority here, I still wish this game was played on Thursday.
Me too.
I wish this was a Thanksgiving game.
Yeah, I want your turkey and get down to DKR.
Listen, we had the best tailgates with the turkey at the tailgates. We threw a huge spread, a big potluck. But like for me growing up, Thanksgiving meant watching the Cowboys, watching the Lions, and watching Texas football. Like that was it for us.
Mm-hmm.
And so I miss it being on Thanksgiving. Again, maybe we're in the minority here. I don't know. But for me, moving it to Black Friday, that's the next best thing. I love it. I'm here for it. Spotlights on Texas. Listen, last year, this game, the Texas A&M game, was one of the most highly watched college football games of the year. Not just of that week, of the year. Texas is pulling eyeballs, and this rivalry is back. I think A&M has tickled enough and had enough buzz that people are still excited to see what happens in this rivalry between Texas and Texas A&M. So I like it. I don't think it's a game that there's going to be a ton of competition in that time slot. I think Texas is going to pull the numbers, and again, it feels like we're getting back to tradition, back to where we used to be. I feel a little nostalgic about this. I'm happy for it.
All right. So this is a big game for Texas and Texas A&M. I think I agree. I miss the Thanksgiving night when all the family is together. I'm not from a house divided and all that. My family are Longhorns, and that's it. We don't have no Aggies having Thanksgiving in my house. So no, that was never really an issue for me. But so it's that's whatever. But it was one of the biggest games, even for being a Saturday night. This time it's going to be a Friday night, competing against way less teams and being the primetime game.
Right.
So, and hopefully the Aggies live up to their end of the deal of making this an exciting game with something on the line. We remember last year, Aggies actually had a chance to get to the SEC championship game if they could pull off that win at home against Texas. And Texas was the winner of that was going to the SEC championship game, right? With playoff implications on the line.
Absolutely.
All of those things were on the line in that game, which made it even more exciting when you add the excitement of the rivalry being renewed, right? So that. And of course, it's kind of fallen off as a national rivalry because.
Oh, I don't know. I don't agree with that.
I
don't agree with that at all. I think that this is, and again, the numbers show it.
But if you show people what are the best rivalries, it's not 1, 2, or 3.
I disagree with that. I think they
like when people ask what are the best rivalries, people still say Michigan, Ohio State, Texas, OU, Alabama, Auburn. It's a top 5 or 10 maybe, but it's not the 1 or 2 like it was 20 years ago. But it is still a top rivalry. People watch the game, but it's not a top rivalry.
I think
Aggies have not held their end of the deal,
and that's fine. But I think after last year and this coming back
after last year, it's gotten the excitement back.
And Texas being back in the SEC.
Yes,
all the polls that I've seen, the recent polls, like of course Texas OU is up there
way higher.
That comes first, for sure. You've got of course Michigan and Ohio State. But I've seen Texas A&M 3, 4, 5.
I haven't.
I have. So look, I think this is a thing. And again, numbers don't lie. Texas A&M last year was one of the most watched football games.
A lot was on the line, which is why it mattered more.
But it's always going to be that way. Like
I don't know. We'll see if this year, and we're about to look at the win-loss predictions for this year. If Texas holds their end, the Aggies need to hold their end for this to be an exciting game.
I still think it's going to be exciting no matter what. It's, this is always that in-state rivalry. You're in the state of Texas, which is hotbed for recruiting, hotbed for football. People love this stuff. You've got those family feuds. I think this is always going to be football is better for this rivalry being back.
Mm-hmm.
A&M's probably not going to love it at the end of the day. That Cotton Holdings trophy ain't going to live. Cotton Holdings trophy, the Lone Star Trophy isn't gonna live in College Station for very many things.
Texas secured that before the season was over.
Yeah, so
the softball's butt kicking of the softball women didn't even help them get at that trophy.
right.
All right, so Texas, Ohio State. Let's talk about that. We will be there. This is week 1 for Texas football. There's a week 0 of football, but for Texas, it's week 1. It's our first game of the season. And just as we kind of thought, the word is Fox is taking this game, which makes everyone assume it hasn't been officially announced.
It's a big noon
but
kickoff.
it's a big noon kickoff, 11 a.m. Central. Sark loves 11 a.m. kickoffs. He has a massively overwhelming winning record at 11 a.m.s, especially at Texas. What are your thoughts about this being the pros and cons about this being an 11 a.m. game at Ohio State in Columbus?
Okay, so again, if this were any other game, I'd be pissed because I like to go. We go through all this trouble of traveling up there. I drive. That's a long ass drive. I'm bringing the dogs. I set up a tailgate. All of this stuff. I don't want to do a noon kickoff with 2, 3, 4 hours of tailgating. I want all day to get nice and saucy and then go watch the game.
The problem is they're also getting nice and saucy.
That's a problem too. But what I will say for this game, yeah, CB, we know it hasn't officially been announced, but let's be honest.
That's what I've said.
It's on Fox. It's going to be a big noon kickoff. What I will say for this game, if this does end up being big noon, I'm fine with that.
Too.
I'm not taking a tailgate for this game. This is one of the only ones I won't do it because their fans are terrible. And I'm not going to try to stress about my stuff and my dogs and things being wrecked and destroyed. To your point, Sark and Texas, I mean, they've said this as much, like he said as much. They like these early games because they can get out, they can play the game, they can play hard, and then they're done. They don't have to stress for the whole day, right?
Right.
So I think eyeballs are going to be on Texas. This is a huge, huge game, a huge early opportunity for Texas to show, like, are they for real? Is this a real deal? Up at the shoe. And like you alluded to earlier, you're not giving those fans enough time to get trashed and be even shittier than they typically are. So normally I'd be mad about it. Right now, I think it makes sense if this is a noon kickoff.
Yeah, I'm happy with that too. It could get dangerous, and it's massively to their advantage if this were a night game.
To OSU's advantage.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
For
To
sure.
their advantage. It's a huge advantage for this to be a night environment. Combine that with how successful Coach Sark is at Texas at 11 a.m. games. Remember last year when we went to the Michigan game, it was a big noon kickoff, 11 a.m. for us. And it was freezing cold in September that morning, and Texas just came out on fire. And we've seen them come out on fire many times at 11 a.m. I feel like this is just a little twinkle in Sark's eye when he saw, for many reasons.
Sure.
Mostly you take the crowd, it helps the crowd a little bit.
Yeah.
Doesn't take them out. They're still going to be rabid and excited no matter what time. Tuesday at 4 a.m. they'll be excited. But I think this is one little notch that helps Texas, and I'll take it.
Yeah.
So that's good. All right. So SEC FanDuel has put out pretty early win-loss predictions.
SEC win.
SEC win-loss predictions. Right now, the teams with the best win odds are Alabama, Georgia, and Texas, all at 9.5, all with new quarterbacks. But they're all still projected to be plus or minus 9.5 wins. Then you have the next group: LSU, Ole Miss, Tennessee with 8.5, Auburn, Missouri, South Carolina, A&M at 7.5, and then the rest: Florida, OU, Arkansas. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's pick a couple to talk about. Let's start with Texas, of course. 9.5. If you had to go over under Texas with 9.5 wins total for the season.
Expectation?
Over. Projections.
Yeah. Texas should look. The conversation is
even
Texas,
with the new quarterback and the new O-line and not much production returning on receiver.
Texas doesn't rebuild, they reload. And I think Sark has
been a
proven
minute
that.
since we could say that.
It has, but we've been able to say it the past few years.
Okay.
Texas is in a place now that the expectation, we talk about it, the standard is the standard.
Expectation, but if
you
had to put money on that.
Yeah, you have, listen.
You're saying 10 wins at least.
I'm saying if Texas doesn't win 10 wins, the season is considered a letdown this year.
I agree.
So that's my baseline there. The expectation is for Texas to be competing for championships, and you're not going to be competing for an SEC championship if you win fewer than 10 games in the SEC. Bottom line, that's how I feel about it.
Okay. I agree. I would say 10 wins this season. You can find 2 losses. Things cannot go Texas' way. I can see a couple of different places where things might not go Texas' way that day. I can see 2. I have a hard time finding 3 times where Texas doesn't have the better roster and the better environment and the better preparation. And as the staff keeps coming together, the better coaching staff. So it's hard for me to find 3, but I could see 2 where it could go either way. So looking at this list, is there anybody here you think is too high or too low?
What jumps out at me about this list is Florida with 6.5.
They should be higher.
I think that's a trap.
Yeah.
That's a trap. I think Florida, I know that they underperformed last year, but to me, especially, I mean, Texas has to go to Gainesville this year. I think, you get a healthy Lagway, you get a healthy Florida team. That's a scary team to me. That's a team.
Texas starts the SEC play at Florida.
Right. That to me is a team that's going to have a chip on their shoulder from how they performed this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to be dangerous. So Florida at 6.5 feels like I don't like that.
I would take the over all day on Florida at 6.5.
I agree.
Lagway, we'll see what happens after summer camp or summer ball, whatever, because he has been limited. He has that shoulder injury, so we'll see what happens with them. But I think they've done enough in the transfer portal and recruiting still, even though they're not the hot team.
Mm-hmm.
They still have that hotbed of Florida recruiting. I would have a hard time saying Florida doesn't hit 8 or 9 or 10.
Yeah.
They could. I mean. They survived.
Feels
their coach should have been fired last year, and here they are. They ended the season on a hot streak, like I predicted last year as we were watching the games.
That's it. That's what I'm saying. I feel like Florida's coming in hot. They've got a lot to build on. They're recovering from some injuries, but they've got the whole off season. They've got a lot of time to recover and recoup. I think Florida's a dangerous team, and I think they are going to be underestimated by a lot of people early on in the season. But watch out for them.
Right.
Who stands out to you on this list?
Mississippi State. All of a sudden, they're going to go from no wins to 4 or 5.
You put them even lower than last.
Why?
All right.
I'm going to put them in the ass or the Midwest Conference. Like, what are you doing? No. LSU is a good question.
Yeah.
They start this game at Clemson, and some polls have Clemson number 1 preseason in the country.
They're a dangerous team.
Yes, but they couldn't do shit against Texas until late, when all they could do was throw on Texas when it was too late because they couldn't run the ball on Texas. So I have a hard time. We'll see what LSU is physically made of. Remember last year how LSU started the season against USC and we got all hyped about LSU for nothing? Well, this is going to be a great matchup when they start the season against Clemson. So we'll kind of see what they're made of. The rest of it, what do you think about? I love South Carolina. 7.5 seems about right. But the Aggies, everyone keeps saying Texas 8-4, Texas 8-4, right?
It's A&M 8-4.
So I'm calling them the Texas 8-4. They keep being 8-4, and sure enough, that line is 7.5. Is there anything that would tell you they are going to hit 8 or more wins this year?
Look, I'm not going to dog on the Aggies. I think Elko. I'm going to stick with this, and I'll probably be putting my foot in my mouth right now. I still think Elko is a good fit for A&M. I still think it is ridiculous to judge a head coach in a new program without his players. I think it's ridiculous to judge a head coach by his first year at a program.
Okay.
That being said, let me do some judging. No, look, I think 8-4 is the expectation for A&M. I think that's a fair expectation in a tough football conference. And for me, it's a prove it, football is very much, what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
And A&M has not done anything to make me go, they're going to win more than 8 games. I think 8 is reasonable for A&M, but until I see that spark and that consistency and the living up beyond A&M's history, until I see that, no, I'm not going to give them credit for it. So yeah, 8-4 feels about right for A&M.
All right. So let's move on. It's always fun to talk about. Look at what people are thinking. OU at 6.5. Whew. They better do something. If Brent, what do you think of Brett Venables?
What
do you think about Venables? Burnt vegetables.
Yeah.
What do you think about if burnt vegetables only gets 6 wins because they have a tough schedule. Their schedule last year was tough, and they had that big exciting win against Alabama, which had people like all in again with Brent Venables. Do you think that? What do you think the numbers of wins to keep their coach? And then we'll move on to the Longhorns.
To keep the coach,
yeah,
I think OU has to finish at least 8-4 in the SEC. Or excuse me, 8-4 on the year to be able to keep Venables. And look, OU has never been accused of running a really tight ship when it comes to athletics as a program as a whole. I have said this time and time again. I stand by it. I believe it for more reasons than just looking at it and being a Burnt Orange fan, like a little bit of behind the scenes knowledge with the behind the scenes stuff with OU. I think Venables is a great DC. I still have not seen anything from him that shouts to me that he is going to be able to manage all of the little things and keep all the plates spinning that you have to keep spinning as a head coach at a program like Oklahoma. I just am not convinced that Venables is there as head coach right now.
Right.
Again, he manages defenses well. He's got a great defensive mind. But when it comes to the little things, Mac Brown used to say this all the time. You've got to be the CEO. It's about so much more than being a head coach. It's not just X's and O's. There's so much beyond that. Couple that with how the OU administration functions behind the scenes. You're not going to convince me that anything's changing at OU and that Venables is going to take that step up. Now, look, I could be totally wrong, but for me, you're in a program like Oklahoma. You've got, 8 national championships, 7 national championships?
A lot.
7. You have got
the standard is the standard.
Yeah, man. And look, we say that at Texas, but at OU, if you're softball and if you're football, you are expected to win. And while I think Venables has gotten a longer leash because of his history with OU and because of, by all accounts, he's a fun enough dude, right? Fine, but you're not winning. And at the end of the day, OU is an unserious program if they're going to allow that kind of mediocrity to continue. You have to have an expectation. You have to have a standard. OU has set that standard historically, and they certainly are not where they have been historically. So you've got to live up to that, and you've got to show some progress, or you're out. Because so far, his trajectory is a downward trajectory. So and unless that changes drastically, I don't see how as a program you can keep him.
Well, we know he fumbled badly the quarterback situation. He seems to have, with John Mateer, really one of the, some people had him as the number 1 quarterback in the portal available, dual threat. It should bring some excitement. Last year, they were just riddled with wide receiver injuries and inconsistent quarterback play.
Yeah.
So all those things, but we'll talk about this another time. It's a great conversation about how Sark, being such an offensive-minded coach, yet he understands that he needs to have a complete defense, and he had one of the best defenses in the country. Flip the script. Venables had talent and a pretty okay defense, but their offense couldn't get off the ground. And what we'll see this year, was it really the wide receivers were so injured or is it their scheme and their culture? We'll find that out this year. All right, so let's move on to Longhorns in the NFL. Yay, Longhorns in the NFL. So a couple quick notes about some of our favorite Longhorns who got drafted this year. We want to catch up with them. Andrew Makuba, LBJ High School here in Austin, had a celebration and welcome back Andrew Makuba to celebrate him being drafted. And there's some great videos out there. Corey Mose, of course, who's everywhere. Had some great video of Andrew Makuba just wanting to get out and show the kids, I come from where you come from, and you can do it too. You will not convince me that Corey Mose isn't like a quintuplet, that there's actually 5 Corey Mose running around and we just don't know it, because that man is everywhere all at once, all the time. Everywhere.
Amazing. He's incredible.
Everywhere all at once. All right. Jaden Blue. Let's talk a little bit of numbers. There's some predictions that maybe the Longhorns are going to have almost $100 million in money to the players this contract money in this first round this year
in the NFL.
Not roster in the school.
Now let's pause for a minute.
Could this round of draft picks earn $100 million guaranteed at least? That's what there's. That's
Easily.
the number. Yeah,
Easily. You're talking Kelvin.
that's a recruiting.
You're talking Kelvin Banks at almost a third of that.
Yeah, we'll show that in a second.
Again, we brought it up a little bit earlier. So yeah, I mean, I think that number is easily achievable. And again, I want to hit the timeout, take a pause on that.
Mm-hmm.
Longhorns in the NFL, their rookie year can gross over $100 million. Their rookie contract.
Rookie contract. Yeah.
Can gross over $100 million. If I'm Sark, I'm hitting that message.
Yep.
Every other breath.
It makes that $30 million roster look like pennies. Don't worry, we're investing in their futures, and then they're going to go off make $100 million.
The ROI is incredible.
Yeah. So Jaden Blue, congrats! 4 years, $4.6 million, and $427 signing bonus. So that's such good money. Good for them. I know they work so hard. And then let's see, Kelvin Banks. We know we got to talk about this, especially because Kelvin Banks, we know the story of his mom and how, her overcoming all these health challenges. And she was, she got to be with her son when he was picked at the state first round. Kelvin Banks Jr. signed his 4-year deal, $27.7 million.
Not bad money.
That's great.
It's not bad money. Look,
congrats.
If I'm Sark, I'm using this as a recruiting tool day in and day out. Look at what our guys are making. Look at what everybody did. Yes. So the question is, can Texas hit 100 million? Easy.
Yeah.
Like, I think this is just, again, as a Texas fan, we try not to get too excited. We've had our hearts broken. We suffer that UTSD. We talk about it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it is hard not to be excited.
Good.
It is hard not to be excited about the direction that this program is going, the way that players are developing, the money that they're making, the excellence that they're experiencing and exuding. It's fun. I'm happy to be along. Listen, I'm hyped up, and it's May. I'm excited, man.
All right, let's look. So the Saints, we know Kelvin Banks and Vernon Broughton were drafted to the Saints. We'll just show a quick clip. They put out a Mother's Day video montage from some of the rookies, and because the rookies are in minicamp, and this is Kelvin Banks saying Happy Mother's Day to his mother.
One thing I would tell my mom about my rookie minicamp experience is it's a lot of learning, more than you would think about physicality on the field, because going through the process, you kind of play football already. Now you just have to learn what the coaches want you to apply to the game. And from a young age, you've always taught me how to be a good listener. So I feel like that's what's helped me a lot. And that's the one thing I would tell my mom.
What's good, Mom? Happy Mother's Day to you.
All right. And then there's other players. But congratulations. It must be so exciting to start their rookie mini camps are happening, right?
The only qualm I have with that is with their social media team. What was it with that like toddler Rugrats kind of theme that was playing in the background? The little baby xylophone going on.
All right. Jade Barron. Everybody loves Jade. We love him. He had message also to his mother Mother's Day weekend. And we'll watch this. We know he was drafted in first round to the Denver Broncos.
My mother, strongest woman in the world. Like even on Father's Day, I tell her Happy Mother's Day again. She gets 2. She raised my 2 older brothers with me. And then eventually she had 3 beautiful daughters. But my mom, she pushed me every single day. Just what my saying, just staying committed to the process. Whenever I got down, she made sure that she reminded me that I was staying true to what I said I'll do long after the mood has changed. So just with that, just being committed, and she was committed. All those things that she did, people look at them as sacrifices. Everything she did, just running me around from boxing training, basketball, football practice, it was an all-in investment. Like I said at the beginning of the interview, I'm going to invest that, and I'm going to give her the world back so she can just be a mother. I feel like over the years, she just trying to, make everybody happy as a mother, and that's what you do. Take sisters, go here, take me here, and things like that. But now she could truly enjoy just being a mother, not having to work 2 jobs and going to take my little sister to volleyball practice. She can just truly be here what God called her to be as a mother and a provider. So it's going to be fun for her.
What a dude.
What a dude. I love him. He represents his family with such dignity and honor. He represents Texas. He's so proud to be a Longhorn. Remember how when they were at the draft combine day or whatever, and he had to wear something Texas orange?
Yeah, he's like, I'm not going to wear the combine.
Yeah, I'm wearing the orange.
Burnt orange for last time.
Orange.
Yeah.
I love him. All right, so a couple other announcements. Gunnar Helm, the terms of his contract were not released, but he did sign. I haven't seen anything yet about what his money is. It's always fun to see what their money is. It's just because I'm nosy. Because I'm nosy. Anyway, Gunnar Helm signed with the Titans. There's a little video clip, and I was going to play it, but the sound is so low. Come on, Titans, put a microphone. Like I couldn't even hear what he was saying. But anyway, Gunnar Helm, Tennessee Titan.
They got to get their stuff together this year.
Come on, Tennessee Titans media. I mean, there's not much to celebrate right now with the Titans, so I understand. And Alfred Collins, big AC, is at in his 49ers uniform.
Yep,
there he is.
Crazy.
Big
AC. Grown ass man.
He's huge. Good job. So the last thing we want to do before we move on from Longhorns in the NFL, that was pro day. Oh yeah, pro day when talking about Jade. Yeah. All right. So let's look at Quinn Ewers. Quinn Ewers is at Miami, right? And we know the story was how he fell in the draft. And he was interviewed with the Miami media at their rookie mini camp. And we'll just play a little bit of it, and then we'll talk about it.
Last couple weeks been like since you got drafted and now starting out mini camp?
Yeah, it's been good. Just like you said, getting ready for mini camp. And obviously I'm continuing on the journey of my career. And, it's been exciting. It's been a dream come true for me. Since I was a little kid, since I picked up a football, I always wanted to play in the NFL, and it's not a better place to begin the journey.
An offense that's had a lot of success over the last few years, being able to learn and cultivate your skills with this group, what does that mean?
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, they've been there, they've done that, they've succeeded at the highest level in our game, in our profession. So it's exciting. There's really no other words to describe it. It's just exciting, and to learn from all these veterans.
Quinn, what was this coaching staff's message to you as it started it's abbreviated camp for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, just take advantage of every opportunity because, there's a lot of guys out there right now. And, everyone's fighting for the same job, and we're all competitive, but it's cool at the same time just because these guys are, at the end of the day, some of these guys are going to end up being, teammates with us. And but you gotta earn the job and earn the trust of those guys as well. So it's been cool.
When you come in with kind of a chip on your shoulder to kind of prove yourself, or what's kind of your mentality?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I didn't expect to fall as low as I did, but circumstances being, it is what it is at the end of the day, and I have the same opportunity as everybody else does, and I'm beyond thankful for that. And I just want to go in there and play my game at the end of the day and learn and develop as a quarterback.
Quinn, Zach Wilson is here behind Tua. Do you have designs on being the number 2 quarterback, or what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I'm just going to try to go out there and play my game every day and just focus on myself and what I can do to help the team win and what I can do to help make the team better, no matter what my positioning is.
Have you talked?
All right, Megan, couple of questions. What do you think about his answer when they asked him, because you're going to ask him, you fell, down in the draft. How does that affect, you coming out and competing? What do you think about his answer that I'm just here to help we all have the same opportunity, right?
I loved it. Look, he was honest. He paused. He thought about it. He said, look, I didn't expect to fall as far as I did, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. And I'm here to play and show off what I can do. And I'm thankful for the opportunity. I love that. I think that shows a maturity. I think there are certain other players, certain other quarterbacks in this draft that you could ask that same question, and you certainly would not give the same amount of nuance and the same amount of consideration and thoughtfulness. So while that's got to hurt his heart to answer it, he handled it well. And look, again, with my burnt orange glasses on, I've got to say, watching Jade, watching Quinn Ewers, watching our guys handle these questions early, they're harder hitting questions in the NFL. They're not going to,
they're pros now. You can't.
Kid gloves are off, right?
Yes, exactly.
And I think that Texas media training and that maturity is really shining through, especially for this draft class. So, I wish him well. I think he handled it well. I think he held himself well. I'm excited to see him excel. And, at the end of the day, there are way worse places for him to end up than Miami. I think Miami's actually a really good fit for Quinn Ewers' style of play. So I think he's got a lot of opportunity to learn and to excel there, and maybe even have opportunity to come in behind Tua, because God only knows what's going on with his head, right? Like, and I say that not to be ugly, but let's be honest, like,
suffered severe
there have been
concussions
times that we've watched him play going, what are you doing, Miami? Why are you putting this guy back on the field?
Yeah.
So, I hope that Quinn stays healthy. I hope that he learns a lot, and I think this is a great opportunity for him. So I really liked it.
Yeah, like Sarkisian said, sometimes ultimately it's about the fit, and are you going to the best fit for you? It's not so much, of course, when it comes to the money,
sure,
and the commitment that the team has in you, that you would want to go drafted higher. But at the end of the day, he has an opportunity to compete. And he has a good fit for him, and a system that is very favorable to his style of play too. And chances are we will see Quinn Ewers on the field this year, because Tua is injury prone,
history,
and Zach Wilson, who knows what's happening with that.
And let me say this: like, if I'm a quarterback, where would you rather be? A little bit higher in the draft
at Cleveland?
At Cleveland? Or a little bit lower in the draft in Miami.
Make me Mr. Irrelevant. In Miami.
I'm just saying.
Then number 1 in Cleveland.
I'm just
please.
Saying. The money, okay. The money argument,
I don't know how much you'd have to pay me to play for Cleveland.
It'd be a lot.
You'd have to pay me a lot. Because it's going to be your only one contract, because every quarterback goes to die in Cleveland. That's just, it's facts. It's not even our opinion. It's literally facts.
Literally.
All right. Speaking of the NFL, the schedules are out tonight. There's been some people posting leaked schedules. I'm sure if we were searching the internet after 9 p.m. tonight, we could have found, like, for sure. But let's talk about these. We've seen some really good leaked. We'll start with your team, Megan, because, that's what we do. We'll start with your team. Your number 1 team is the Detroit Lions. And Megan's like, oh, thanks for putting my team up there. I'm like, this is our show. We're only going to put Lions, Cowboys, Texans, Titans. That's who we're talking about tonight. And, of course, the Saints schedule we have available, too. But because we have now friends with their kids on the Saints. Okay, are you seeing this is what we're seeing?
Yep, I'm seeing.
Week 1 at Green Bay.
Yep.
That's rivalry from the start.
Right off.
Lions?
Right off is going to get ugly.
Okay, let's kind of scan it. Is there anything at Kansas City which should be exciting?
Lions, I think, proved themselves this year. They showed up at KC and shut down KC pretty good, and Mahomes couldn't do a whole lot. So, yeah, I'm excited. Again, we get Hutch back. The expectations, look, as much as people don't want to admit this, or as much as people don't want to say, I think there are a lot of parallels between what Dan Campbell has done with Detroit and what Coach Sarkisian is doing at Texas.
Culture.
Watching the culture build, understanding exactly, they have a vision. They know exactly what they want their culture to be and how to build it. And they don't deviate from that. They don't let distractions move in. And it has sparked this fire. I will say this. I was talking with somebody the other day with Detroit, and it has been a really long time, at least 15 years since the city has seen this kind of success. The Detroit Tigers are doing really good right now. The Red Wings have done better than they have done in a very long time. Now, look, I know the Pistons were eliminated first round by New York, but the fact that they made it, like, it's been a hot minute since Detroit sports is, like, feeling that spark. And I don't think it's hyperbole or overstating to say a lot of this can be traced back to Dan Campbell and the energy that he's bringing and what he's done with the Lions and just reinvigorated the city. So, hell yeah, man, I'm excited. Now, looking at the schedule, it's tough.
What intrigues me, I know they have their own division play, but what really intrigues me about this schedule is look at this run against the NFC East. Philadelphia, New York, Washington, Philadelphia, New York. They go back to their rival Green Bay. They get them at home. And then they have Dallas at home in Detroit on Thursday night, Thanksgiving. I mean, that is an exciting, and Minnesota, who's heating up the last couple of years, that is a treacherous, if they can get through that 6-game stretch, 4-2.
Yeah.
That would be,
there's some hope for the Lions, man. I'm telling you.
That of course, they came off of a hot year, almost this close to a Super Bowl.
Crazy injuries.
Yeah,
crazy injuries all season.
Yes, injury-ridden, but they still had a shot at a Super Bowl last year. That is a tough stretch of division rivals, and then having to run through the NFC East. Yeah. Good luck.
It's gonna be tough.
Good luck.
They're here for it. I love it.
Good luck. All right. So let's look at the Cowboys schedule. Of course, this is another leaked. Is this the real schedule? We won't know. Let's see. All right. Cowboys. This is always exciting. Eagles starting the week at the Eagles. They ended up winning Super Bowl, right? Super Bowl champs, Eagles, right?
Yeah.
And then they go right to New York Giants. So they're starting with their division.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else is whatever. They get the Chiefs on Thanksgiving. Wait, no. This is wrong because the other thing had them playing Detroit on Thanksgiving.
Well, and this is, again, I'm looking at what's officially been released. So,
so this isn't the latest. This
so
isn't
it's
the
going to
final.
be Eagles week 1, Giants at home, Bears in Chicago, then Packers in Dallas. Then
so
they
this
go
is mostly right, but
but there's a couple differences.
Yeah, okay. Because these are people trying to gather from the leaked thing, but now we have the real schedule.
We do. But yeah, it is looking like December 4th is going to be which again could still be that I don't have a calendar open, but that could be a Thursday game because they have said Cowboys Lions. It would be a little unusual to see the Cowboys and Lions play each other on Thanksgiving because typically they both play on Thanksgiving.
Other teams.
Yeah, it'd be unusual for the NFL to take away a game and have them play each other. So,
all right. So kind of peeking at the Tennessee Titans schedule, my Titans, I'm excited for the Saints to go to Tennessee at home. That's going to be fun because we have friends that with the Saints team now. So that's going to be kind of fun. I hope we all get to go to the Tennessee game, but they are at Houston week 4. So I need to look at what day that actually is because sometimes I try to get to that Titans at Houston game, even though the Houston fans are not very nice. And then the Texans schedule, same thing. I think the most exciting thing about the Texans schedule, nothing. Their schedule looks boring AF. They get Buffalo on Thursday Night Football. That might be the most exciting thing if that's the final schedule.
What I will offer is that week 15 versus Arizona. That's something might be
fun. Yes, let's talk about that. Hayden Connor, who is with Arizona, is from the city of Houston.
That's right. It's at Arizona,
and it's okay. Yes. Well,
excuse me. No, it's at home in Houston. So that might be when we're driving down.
We might all have to go to that game. Texas Longhorn fans, we're all going to Houston.
Just saying.
Yes, Arizona and Houston.
Yeah.
Okay, that might be the only exciting thing on that Texan schedule. Okay, let's move on. We have a few minutes to get through some top stories. We covered Texas in the NFL. Let's talk about this, Megan. A couple of fun top stories, and this is huge for all of us who watch and stream our sports from wherever we are. ESPN, and I want your opinion because I know you like to stream. We both stream stuff.
I stream everything.
We stream everything, right?
Yeah.
I even moved my DirecTV to streaming only. I use YouTube TV and the Disney/Hulu/ESPN, all that. They are moving to ESPN has officially announced that its programming will be offered $29.99 a month without needing a cable or streaming subscription to be able to access it. They're going to call it ESPN.
Revolutionary stuff here. Revolutionary.
What do you think about this not having to have DirecTV or YouTube TV or whatever in order to be able to access ESPN, and you can just get that for $29?
Listen, I think the thing this shouldn't be revolutionary, but the pain point has been ESPN has all of these different networks, right? SEC Plus, the Longhorn Network was part of it. It goes on. And you could have a subscription to ESPN and you could get the SEC network, but you couldn't get SEC Plus. And you couldn't get, I will say, like my number one gripe with Texas moving from the Big 12 to the SEC and losing the Longhorn Network. I hope all you people that griped about the Longhorn Network and quote unquote how bad it was, man, I hope you're happy right now because SEC Network, SEC Plus is hot garbage. It is hot garbage. You get camera views that are all over. It looks like somebody with Parkinson's is like filming.
Oh, no.
It's terrible. It's terrible. The sound quality is terrible. The announcers don't know what they're doing half the time. So it really puts in stark contrast like what we had in the Longhorn Network. So all of that being said, I hope now that ESPN is offering a package where you don't have to like put tinfoil hats on and
that's
look
the thing. We can't assume the product's going to be any better. We can just assume that people are going to pay for it a different way. Those are two different things.
Right. So I hope the product is better. I certainly think it's going to make it an easier user experience where I don't have to sign up with 14 different streaming services through the ESPN app to find the things that I want on ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
What I am curious about is for people like me, people like you, I've got the Hulu, Disney, ESPN package.
Mm-hmm.
Is there going to be an option now? Like, I don't want to pay another $30.
So NPR said there's going to be a bundle that's ad-supported bundle, but for $35.99, you can get Disney, Hulu, and ESPN.
In
$35.99.
$5 more dollars.
Yeah,
I'm in.
They said that's going to be all of it together in one package.
I'm in.
And the new ESPN app will include everything. My problem with the ESPN app is it logs you out, it freezes up, it's hard to search for things. It tells you the score when you want to join from the beginning. There's lots of issues with the ESPN app, but I think that's a great idea if somebody didn't have to pay $100 a month for DirecTV streaming just to get ESPN.
Look, or the ESPN Plus. Listen,
Right.
I will say, CB, I'm right there with you. SEC Network Plus it's hot garbage. It is hot garbage. I will not take it back. It's crap. So I hope that improves with this new format. And yeah, I'm in 100%. If you're telling me I'm going to pay $5 more than the bundle that I'm already paying for with, per month with ESPN and Disney and Hulu, throw on another $5 so I don't have to also have a cable package to get the plus. Yeah, I'm in. That's great.
All right, moving on. It's Clemson, more Clemson talk. How are we talking about Clemson so much? And their in their Death Valley at their stadium, they had the Savannah Bananas a couple weeks ago that sold out 80,000 seats. I saw it was on ESPN, the show that was pretty exciting, fun stuff.
Are you a Bananas fan?
Yeah, they were fun.
They're cool, man.
They're cool AF, and they play against the Party Animals. It was a great show, and it looked good on TV. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because Clemson is using their stadium for concerts. And I won't show the whole thing, but they had Metallica, and we know they do Enter Sandman at the stadium, so that was extra special. Okay, we don't have to play this whole thing. I saw Metallica at ACL a couple years ago. Fantastic. Fantastic. Okay, so two things. How cool is this to have Metallica at the Clemson Stadium? Also, what concert would you want to be at DKR? Remember just a few months ago, a year ago, whatever, George Strait sold out Kyle Field. Yeah. That was a big deal. It looked amazing for them. Who would you want at DKR that would just not country music? Like, hey, no, I'm saying rock the house. Hey. If it's country, it needs to rock the house.
Hey, George Strait puts on a damn good
I've seen
show.
George Strait. I would want someone that rocks the house. Like even Garth Brooks, who's going to be doing F1.
Yeah.
I would take Garth Brooks at DKR over
the Okie over the Texans.
Over George Strait, yeah.
Woof.
I'm talking about party.
One of the things that I do want to point out first is that that concert that you showed actually set off the Richter scale.
Yes.
It registered.
That's what I want.
The stadium was so rocking, it set off the Richter scale.
They're all,
which is incredible. That's absolutely incredible. Like, again, not a Clemson fan one way or the other, but
love what they're doing.
Dang, that was cool. That was cool.
Love what they're doing.
Who would I want to see at DKR?
That would set off a Richter scale at DKR.
I feel like, man, I don't know. That's a tough one. I feel like the party that we had at the SEC welcome party.
Oh, that was so great with Pitbull.
Yeah, like I can imagine it being that kind of vibe, right?
Yes.
Like I can see it being like, and again, I'm not hip, I'm not cool. I don't know who the cool acts are right now, but I can see it being more like rap or like Dua Lipa, you know what I mean? Or something like that.
I would think more of a rock band that everyone knows. Because the way Metallica, like not all these young kids, they don't like run to listen to Metallica, but they know enough songs to make the Richter, to register on the Richter scale.
Who would you have?
I don't know. Something like maybe like an Aerosmith or
old.
No, but I'm saying something that everybody knows.
Yeah, but it's old. I wouldn't want Aerosmith.
I'm just saying something that everybody knows.
That's what I'm saying. I would do something more like rap or hip hop. Like I can see
I
it.
mean, I'd rather have rap or
But that's
hip-hop,
what I'm saying. I
but-
can see it being like.
But these people are like, I don't know who that.
I could see it being like a Kendrick Lamar or something like that. Like something new, something that like everybody knows. I don't know. A rock concert would be great, but I can't think of anybody off the top of my head.
So, except I'm not a country fan. But
you poo-poo and
yeah,
George
it's
Strait.
just
Girl,
no. George Strait's amazing, classic. But I'm talking about, would he make the register on the Richter scale? No, that's what I'm saying. He's not going to register on the Richter scale. Okay, I wanted to show you this, Megan, because this is a UT grad who just graduated from the business school, and he created a boot jack.
Oh, I've seen this.
Yeah, and it's now available at the University Co-op. So
Hi, I'm Ryan Daly. I'm a senior at the University of Texas, and I'm the owner of Ryan's Woodworking. I'm a finance major at the McComb School of Business, graduating in 2025. And here's our best-selling and my personal favorite product, our handmade Texas Longhorn boot jack. I started doing woodworking in 7th grade when I took middle school shop class. And I fell in love with it. I did it every single day, and eventually I got a shop of my own in my house. I started by selling Facebook into like neighborhood moms and groups like that. Then I eventually got a website as well as social media. My business is Texas owned, Texas made, and ran by Texas X. Hook 'em. Get your Texas Longhorn boot jack exclusively at the University Co-op.
Go to the Co-op and get your boot jack, Megan.
Look, that's cool.
That's really
boot jacks
cool.
aren't anything new, but that looks really high quality, handmade. It's well done. And I don't know if you noticed this, but they discreetly threw in some Tecovas in there.
Oh,
Austin-based Tecovas.
right.
Like, pretty cool.
I
Yeah.
didn't notice, but
Yeah, I did.
I wear boots often in football season,
Yeah.
right? So, and usually you have to like sit on your butt and pull off the
Listen,
boot.
I will tell you, when I've been
I
at
don't
a
know if I
game-
need a whole boot jack, but if I had one, I would
Straight
use
up, I
it.
do. When you're at the game, when I'm tailgating from 7 a.m. and I don't get home till 2 a.m., I'm in those boots. Like everything is painful. My feet hurt. Everything's like swollen. A boot jack is nice to not have to try to like fight to get your shoe off your foot. So well done, man. That's very cool.
Yeah, so I wanted to share that because it's a Longhorn grad now. He just graduated in 2025. So I wanted to share that. Okay, 3 things left, and then we're going to wrap it up, Megan. One, this is kind of funny. We love funny things. The cost of children's youth sports has gotten pretty crazy. So we love whenever someone clever does a funny thing about it. So this is just a funny video about the cost of travel baseball. And we shared this with our friend Edith Faltini, who
She
has
knows.
4 boys, and their travel expenses could like
Wild.
launch spaceships into the moon. Here we-
All right, parents, listen up. Congratulations on your son making this elite travel baseball team. Your weekends belong to me.
Yeah, what's the name of our team?
We're the Thunderbat, Shark Fin, Dirt Devil, Long Bombers.
That's like 4 names.
First tournament is a regional in South Florida. It will cost $27,000 per family. From there, we'll head to Costa Rica and Ecuador for 2 more tournaments.
I didn't know a passport was going to be part of it. I don't have a passport.
If we win the second tournament, we get an automatic bid into the Travel Baseball National Championship Elite Sectional Silver Bracket.
Oh, wow. That'll be big.
Which is a qualifier for the World Series Travel Baseball International Tournament of Baseball.
Where's that?
Mumbai.
I don't know if we can commit to that much.
What's that? You don't know, Jeff?
It's just I have a job.
Well, you have to call in, won't you? Possibly quit. This is your life now.
Okay.
I don't know if I have enough on my credit card to pay for all this. I don't know if I have to take out a loan, Alan. All right, put a lien on your house. All right, you need bats, gloves, cleats, pants, jerseys, specialty jerseys, carts, tents, chairs, speakers. Ooh. This is basically the major leagues.
Is it? Okay.
All right, here's our roster. Braxton, Jackson, Paxton, Easton, Landon with a Y, Braden, Jaden, Caden, other Braxton, other Jackson, Knox, and Kai. All right, any questions?
I have just a few.
Jeff, take a couple laps.
Will do.
Man, that is the always funny Josh Mancuso. Like, I hope I'm saying his last name right. Like, he has been putting on these skits for a hot minute, but like the kernels of truth in there. My favorite is other Braxton.
Yeah, Landon with a Y, Easton, Braxton, Landon. And it's funny because if you were to go
Caden,
to any
Jaden,
baseball
Braden.
roster, that's literally the name.
But I will say, beyond the like,
They're great names. They're just
the funny of all of this, I will say it is kind of insane to me that baseball has gotten to a point, and it's not just baseball, but like these sports have gotten to a point where your kid has to enroll and be incredible, and you have to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars to have your child be competitive at a high school level to maybe get a look for college. Like, that feels so limiting to me. So while that skit is funny as heck, like, at the core of it, it feels crappy, you know? Like, it sucks that, like, not everybody's going to have those opportunities. Not everybody has
it eliminates
tens of thousands of dollars
kids.
to play.
It eliminates many families. Yeah.
But good for other Braden for making it in.
Yeah, other Braden, Landon with a Y. Okay. Speaking of people who are eliminated, watch this. Is parents in a brawl at a Chuck E. Cheese.
What am I watching? Like,
they are in a brawl at Chuck E. Cheese. So my question to you, Megan, without knowing the story, why do you think they're fighting?
It's going to be something.
What happened
stupid
that made parents have a physical fight brawl at Chuck E. Cheese?
It's going to be something stupid like taking a picture with the rat, isn't it?
I don't know why. I was just wondering if you.
Oh God, I thought you were going to tell.
No, I don't know why this brawl happened.
Can I say this? Like, what are we doing
as human beings?
Like, where are we at as a society?
Whose birthday was ruined? There's got to be either one family and two sides of the family, so a child's birthday is ruined, or two families.
Who fights in a Chuck E. Cheese, man?
These people got in a fight. That
pizza is fire. CB, we might have to fight over this, dude. Like,
that pizza is. Oh, I have a funny Chuck E. Cheese story real quick. Go ahead.
I will say this. Like, my nephew had his birthday at Chuck E. Cheese last year, and compared to have you been to a Charles Entertainment Cheese lately?
Yeah, like a year ago, maybe, for my nephew.
They are a far cry from the sad, lonely, single divorced dads like hangout that it used to be.
Well, the robot things aren't as cool as they used to be. Like, ugh.
They were horrifying back in the day,
which is why they were cool.
They were not cool. They were horrifying, and they could catch on fire at any given moment. And it was just this like dank. Like, everything was brown and like asbestos yellow.
And then the creepy Chucky.
It was awful. The non-blinking or like one eye was shorting out. Like, it was awful. So I will say this, Charles Entertainment Cheese. The E actually stands for entertainment. Yeah, Charles Entertainment Cheese. Like, it has gotten better. It's bright. It's clean. Okay.
It's fancy and nice.
Fancy as
the salad bar is the best at Chuck E. Cheese. Because they put everything out at the salad bar. I eat the pizza too.
You know what I love about
you? I need a 4,000 calorie salad to hold me till my pizza's
You
ready.
are the only person in my life that's like, I go to Chuck E. Cheese for this salad.
No, I also get a salad bar, but I eat the pizza. The pizza is good.
I get it. But listen, it is a far cry from the horrifying, on the edge of an electrical short out, animatronic nightmare fuel that it used to be. Like, it's clean. The food's decent.
Really nice.
They put on some fun shows. The games are fun.
I don't see the music anymore. I don't think I've ever had a show come on while I was there.
I'm good with it. They have like dance parties now with kids.
The people in the costumes. Yeah, come out. So
listen, though, there is no excuse for fighting as adults in
they
Chuck
were
E. Cheese.
Throwing down in a Chuck E. Cheese.
That's some hood shit.
Quick story, CB. You remind me when you say the pizza is fire. When I was in high school, the Chuck E. Cheese on North Lamar used to be there. It's not there anymore. And a couple of our friends worked at the Chuck E. Cheese at North Lamar. And apparently, you know how they put the pizza out in those windows and they call your number for you to pick up the pizza and go?
Maybe that's what happened. Somebody just took somebody else's pizza.
Well, this whole family came up with plates from the salad bar and started getting slices from all the pizza because they thought it was a buffet. And all the pizzas were out, and this whole family came and grabbed slices from all the pizzas, thinking it was a buffet, but it's not a buffet. It's you order whole pizzas at Chuck E. Cheese.
That you might throw down for.
So maybe that's why they had it.
That's fair.
Anyway,
that's fair.
Okay.
We're going to end on a high note here.
We're going to end on a very, very high note. Selma Hayek. This is sports related because it's Sports Illustrated.
All right.
Selma Hayek.
Goodness gracious.
58 years old and killed the cover of Sports. Well, there's like 28 things that could possibly be the cover. Do you know which one it is? But wow.
Yeah, she's gorgeous, man. And she seems like a lot of fun. Like she seems like somebody I'd want to get drunk with. I'm just saying, like I would drink with her. Yeah, that's
How
great. She's
amazing.
hot.
58.
Straight as an arrow, she's hot.
58 years old.
Wood.
And she looks just
incredible.
Insane. Oh, we got to show the Spanish tiles one. I don't understand they have her like, I guess it's trying to be super international because they have her with zebras behind her and then mud behind her and then
listen, it doesn't matter where you are on any continent, she's hot.
Yeah, she's amazing. So 58 years old, Selma Hayek is on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
I love it.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't look like this at 20. So look, more power to her.
99% of the world will never look like this.
Incredible.
That's why she's on the cover of Sports Illustrated. But they interviewed her and she talked about how this was a really big, how hard she was part of the group of women that really worked to break barriers and make age be not just numbers. So when she first started, you know, the idea of doing the cover and then in the actual photo shoot, that she really had to just like own it, that she's been a part of this breakthrough of, you know, ageism and, you know, women are supposed to be put on a shelf at 35, how she really broke through it. So she wants to celebrate that and the whole world.
I'd be celebrating if I looked like that too. Are you kidding me?
Look at her.
She's hot.
She's amazing. I'm so proud of her. Standing ovation, Selma. Yes,
absolutely.
She is everything. So congrats, Felicidades, Selma Hayek from Mexico. She's just the best.
I love it.
And so funny and so smart and, you know, found her billionaire to marry.
Like she didn't have her own money.
Oh, she has her own money, but she don't need to spend her own money.
Yeah,
She got to spend hers when she got, yeah. Anyway,
all right,
great show, Megan.
Well, we appreciate y'all being here. Again, please don't forget to like and subscribe. We are Fire the Cannon on Twitter and on Instagram. That is at Fire the Cannon and the number 1. And on YouTube, we are Fire the Cannon Podcast. Again, please like and subscribe. That helps us out. We appreciate y'all being here. Don't forget, next week, we will have very special guests. Stay tuned for some special announcements on top of this, maybe a special showtime. But we've got Ty Harrington joining us. And also
Roderick Walker.
All right. So a lot of Texas legends.
Running back.
Yeah, Texas legends coming up. So as always, y'all, I'm Megan.
I'm Rocky.
And we are Fire the Cannon. Hook 'em.